Session 2 of the Umbral Harbingers. I'm your Dungeon Master, Nathan, and let's say hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. There has been quite a lot to get each of these 5 characters to where we are today, but first, I just want to hear everyone else's voice. I don't want to hear my own voice. So let's start by going around the table clockwise and just say your name and the character that you are playing, starting right here.
Hi, I'm Ayla. I'm playing Erithil.
Hi, I'm Justin. I'm playing Cypress.
Well, hi, I'm Michael. I'm not playing a character, but I'm sitting in.
Hi, I'm Trey, and I'm playing Mordecai Birchwood.
Hi, I'm Ben, and I'm playing Tom A. Turge.
Hi, I'm Jordan, and I'm playing Winton Rocher.
Yes, and I'm always glad that we get to hear all of the full names so that we can appreciate Tom A. Turge. Although I do like Mordecai Birchwood, that's a great name. So, let's go ahead and get ourselves back into the mood as we set the scene and remind ourselves why we are here. So, first, bit of a quick recap on the world itself. In the world of Ninestone, there are 8 stones. Gemstones that map to different schools of magic. You'll find enchantment, divination, abjuration, conjuration, and more. But the one we are focused on is a little different from the others. Black Jade, a stone that has the powerful capabilities of necromancy, of resurrection, of so many more perverted forms of magic that the rest of the world is still trying to grapple with the reality of this kind of presence in their world. And in fact, some researchers and scholars are trying to figure out what makes these shards so unique from the geological nature of the gemstones in the rest of the world. As a quick recap, last time we started off as Winton Rocher awakes dead on a battlefield covered in blood, discovering that with the Black Jade shard in his hand, he has been resurrected by some sort of power that whispers in his mind, a cacophony of voices, and compels him to go to the heart of the Umbral Corruption. Unfortunately, his former allies in the Ruby Empire believe him to be fully resurrected and evil, and so they attempt to kill him as he swiftly escapes. Then, we jet on over to the Lunar Conservatory where Tom discovers that his master, Audio Weaver, has gone missing in a mysterious disappearance in the middle of the night, right on the verge of an incredible breakthrough in the realm of discovering what really gives gemstones their magic and what makes Black Jade special. He takes off, eventually reuniting with his old friend Gaius Canilla, the now temporary headmaster of the Celestial Conservatory, in a bid to gain funding so he can go to the Black Jade Lords. There, he meets up with Aerie, who, in a desperate plea to try to bring back her long-lost friend and leader of the Emerald Insurgents, Sora, has decided to take it upon herself to take a lock of Sora's hair inside of a locket given to her by Kita to journey to the Black Jade Lords. And joining her is Cypress Oakweaver, who has discovered a few new things about gem weaving as a result of a conversation he had with Xananis Ethel. As the three of them journey to the Emerald Egalitary, they meet up with Mordecai Birchwood, a down-on-his-luck playwright who is trying with desperation to use a loaned camera from the Rose District Arts Institute in order to make a documentary, pulp nonfiction of sorts, as he captures what life is like truly outside of the pristine, rose-tinted walls of that district. And as the 4 of them journey down, they are eventually going to come across a tavern just on the outskirts of the Black Jade Lords, a place called Death's Draught, where desperate souls come, and only some choose to ever leave. This is where they are going to meet our friend Winton Rocher, who spent the last few weeks desperately trying to search around for anything that will grant him safe passage to the center of the Umbral Corruption. For every day, he grows a little bit more tired. Winton, I need you to lose 2 max HP.
All right.
Now, let's go ahead and set the mood. As the 4 of you dock on a ferry, the ferryman waves goodbye to you, accepts the coin for your passage, which we'll say was already provided through funding from Gaius, and you eventually take step onto a new kind of territory, a land that is much more harrowing than you could have possibly experienced. I'll give you a moment to collect yourselves, but if you were to look just ahead of you, you would see something that none of you are completely familiar with. Behind you, if you were to look up, you would see that the weather behind you is, let's find out, is an average, relatively fair day. There's a bit of a haze in the atmosphere, but it's what you would expect living on Chrysalis. But immediately before you, there seems to be, it's not a fog, and it's not a barrier, it's something of a meld between the two. Like black smoke itself rises up in a vent-like motion in a circumference that goes up into the air in a semicircle and seems to jut down, creating a kind of a dome around the entrance to the Black Jade Lords. These wisps of black smoke swirl in and out. And right now, the four of you are about 100 feet from this barrier. I'll give you a moment to talk amongst yourselves before you decide whether or not you truly will enter the Black Jade Lords, a place that very few have ever truly returned.
Well, this is a greeting if I've ever seen one.
If we walk in that, we're probably not coming out.
Reeks of death.
I thought I'm coming out.
I like your optimism.
Okay, well, who wants to go first?
Ari will take a step towards it.
Harry, why don't you roll me perception?
16.
You hear something in the mist. It's... Every time there's a swirling motion in the gas in front of you, you hear... There's voices coming from it. You can't, with the 16, make it out like exactly what is being said, but you know there are 10, 100, 1,000 voices that make up this barrier in front of you.
Ari kind of takes a deep breath at that, clutches her locket, and steps through it.
The rest of you see as Ares' form cuts through this mist-like smoke, and you can barely make out her figure on the other side. She's not gone to you, but it's all muted colors. It's like a haze that pulls the saturation from the clothing she's wearing, from her hair. The three of you stand on the other side of the barrier.
Does it hurt?
Can I hear?
You can hear them, yes.
Does it hurt?
Well, since the three of you are waiting to see what happens, I might as well narrate this. Ari, on the other side, the voices grow to a fervor until you cut through them, and when your ears pass, it returns back to its muted whisper-like state. So it sounds like... And on the other side, two things hit you at once. The first is it feels cold. A brisk air around you brings you this feeling of dread. And it's dark. And there's not much color to be found, for the reason I explained. It's as if the sun's rays aren't fully making it to the color on your skin or your clothing or any of the objects you've brought with you. You can relay this back to them.
I do. It doesn't hurt. It's just cold here, both in body and mind.
So, Ari, you relay back to the group that it is cold beyond this mist, and the remainder of you three are still on the outside of the barrier. The sounds of this whispering smoke continue to fill the space. What did the rest of you do?
I have turned on my camera orb and want to go in, and I rolled a 22.
Okay, so on a 22 perception, you hear, remember that passing sensation of the sound picking up as you kick through. You're able to make out two statements as you're going through, amongst the hundreds of voices. And you hear the statement, "Bring her to me," and another statement that says, "Please save him." And you step through and you're on the other side. You could infer that your camera may have picked up on it.
Okay.
I also head in.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do the same.
All of you feel these same sensations. Go ahead and roll perception. If you roll nat 20, you might get more than what you heard. I won't say it's important.
9.
24.
It's really good. You're going to hear similar statements to his. They're going to come from different voices with similar requests. It seems that the people, these spirits or voices, whatever they are in the air, they are making requests like in the split second they have your attention, and then they're just off. So,
Similar as in they're saying the same thing in different ways, or they're making different requests? for
it's,
this
you would
information?
infer they're different requests.
I see.
I'll say, Cypress will be able to infer that they're different just from hearing a few statements. Same thing with Mordecai. So, you two are on the other side, and the breeze begins to pick up. And I want to describe to you just how foreign this landscape feels to you. The four of you look up, and it was noon when you first entered this area. You would have expected the sun to be directly overhead, with a singular, solid form of light that beams down, gives warmth to the earth, and provides color, texture to what you have in front of you. Instead, you look up into the sky, and a massive blanket of spirits, sprites, and souls, like a skyline, jet up and over, easily 5,000 feet above you, creating this barrier that must encapsulate the entirety of this subcontinent. Millions and millions of souls must be present, and they move like a tide in the sky, pulling towards some sort of bright light in the center, much dimmer than the sun, and then away. And every time that tide moves forward, it's like a body of light, like a waxing and waning of a moon takes place in just a matter of minutes. So in 3 minutes, you would see the entire world around you through the bright celestial lights of these souls get brighter and then dimmer. There's no sense of day. There's no sense of night. It's dark. And only by this moonlight, in quotes, made up of souls trying to push towards some central spot in the sky, are you able to even navigate these lands. And of course, with very little sunlight, it is very cold. Michael, you can shut the window now. And the curtains as well.
So is this something that we would have expected? Like, have manifest souls that are just like ambient like this? Like, I imagine we would know that ghosts maybe exist, but to see something on that scale, is that something we would have known about going in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without a roll, you would know that this is where people have said that souls reside when they die. So, yeah, maybe there's some like untethered souls that are here. Why don't you roll history to see how much more you know about it?
Sure. This isn't a d20. I shouldn't roll that. 17. No. 15.
Okay. So, Tom, you were reflecting on some of the things that you would read during your free time at the conservatory. Wasn't really a chief concern of yours. It was like the myth and the folklore and the legends and heroes that went or came from this particular place. And I think all that you would recollect about this is that these souls are not there of their own volition. You would have heard that they are trapped there by some force. Probably necromantic, but maybe mythological. I mean, the people here worship the god Celeborn, and if he wishes to have control over their souls, then maybe that was something that he would have wanted. Now, for you, that could just be folklore or legend, but that's all you know.
And the point that they are going in and out of, is that towards what we believe is the center of the Black Jade Lords? I guess, is that south of us, or is it...
Yeah, why don't two of you roll survival and see if you can gauge direction. Actually, I'm going to have two of you roll survival with disadvantage.
Okay, who has...
Not me.
I have
Wisdom.
+4.
I'm not with y'all, so I can't.
Oh, that's true, that's true. Yeah, it can't be
Zero.
written
I
just
have
yet.
+3.
Alright.
Okay.
Go for it.
So disadvantage means
Dirty
the worst result of 2.
Dirty
You rolled
20.
twice? Very good.
Alright.
Yeah, we go to shot.
First was 10, my second one was 5.
So, Mordecai, you're standing there, you're really trying to gauge where this is coming from. We'll say Tom brought this up. It's like, do you know where those souls are going for? What is that? Where is that? Does that correspond to the center of the corruption? And none of you have been here. Maps of this location aren't very well documented. The map that you're holding in your hands, you'll largely understand due to your future conversation with Winton. Meanwhile, Cypress, you really hone in on something here. The tides of these spirits remind you of the tides of the waters around the Opal Refuge. And typically, fluid dynamics are relatively predictable. You can gauge where they're going to as a result of what must be the shape of this entire terrain. You're able to roughly approximate that wherever these tides are moving towards, which you can see thousands of feet in the sky, is roughly in the area of where the Umbral Corruption would be. The answer to Tom's question is yes.
Yes.
Let's go that way.
So, I'll just say, let's see if anything else happens.
Yes.
Feeling ectoplasm.
Oh,
Here.
okay. Interesting. So, the four of you begin to move forward, and I'll say that you go down a road, and you're able to find, not too far along the way, we're going to say only about half a mile into the Blackjade Lords, is this place we've discussed, this Death's Draught. It's a tavern. And it's probably what you'd expect of a tavern that is inside of the Blackjade Lords. It is gray and dusty. When you walk up to it, you see that there's a sign on the front that reads Death's Draught, and it says one last chance for one last drink. And so as all of you are walking up to the sign, you notice that there are armored guards. They have halberds and are standed at each of the two doors. So 4 of these guards patrolling at once. They are vigilant. They also seem like no-nonsense, well-trained veterans. I'm going to skip some other details depending on where you go and what you decide to do. If you were to step inside, and I guess tell me if you, for whatever reason, don't step inside. You do not want to go inside. You want to do something else desperately first.
Yeah, I assume we've heard that this place exists. There's a reason that
That's
we're
where
heading
guys
this
told us to go,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely the stop to. It's your last stock up shop before you end up hitting the actual pilgrimage that is the Blackjade Lords.
Yeah. I would want to ask the guards if they've seen anything unusual recently. Just like to get they've been here, we haven't been. See if there's anything strange.
Yeah.
going
So
on, if
one of
there's
them
anything to be
lifts his
worried
helmet plate and he says, "How much are you paying for me to tell you something like that?"
about. I can do you one better. Consider it an investment. We're going deeper into the corruption. I'll come back and I'll tell you more of what things look like deeper in.
What's his countenance like? Okay. He silently looks at the other guard who's across from him at the doorpost, and then he looks back at you, holding his halberd in place, and he goes, "You'll come back, is that right?"
That's the plan.
He clangs his halberd against his chestplate armor. He's like, clang, clang. Can you even believe this guy? What were you expecting to come back as? You want to come back as a ghoul, a skeleton, a vampire? And then he notes your demeanor hasn't shifted. You seem serious. And then his smile loosens. And he goes, "Oh, you can't be serious.
Yeah.
Really? You're going to the Umbral Corruption?"
Yeah, we've got a great team. We've got these students, a filmmaker, and a high sorcerer.
I think he's gonna laugh again. He's just like, "Oh, wow. It's been a long time since I've laughed like that. In a way, I have to thank you for it." "Sure." And then his partner is going to say, "Hey, hold on. Nothing is free around here. If you want some information, you're either going to have to buy it off of us, or you're going to have to get clearance from Hellsa herself." And he gestures inward with his halberd.
I guess let's go get clearance.
I guess.
Okay.
Okay, you take a step in.
Yep.
Yeah.
The interior of Death's Draught is, in a way, a little bit more lively than you would have expected from the exterior. guards on the outside. You see that there are a few shipping containers of, or like carriages with crates and barrels and things that were used to ship various goods to this location. You could infer that these goods would have come from places like the Emerald Egalitary, ferried over and then delivered to this location, and that there might be some carriages from elsewhere that this place houses. But as you walk into the bar, you notice that there are easily 15 people in this place. A relative size, let's call it roughly 1,000 square feet. And as you see a wooden bar that is constructed in front of you, stools in front of it, let's say 5 additional tables that seat up to 4 people each, you even notice that there's a piano in the corner, not very well-tuned one. Actually, everything's random. It's a very well-tuned one. And there's somebody sitting there playing right now. It's a solemn dirge. He seems to be singing a song about 2 lovers that once knew each other, and then they were separated by time and are trying to find their way back. And it sort of goes on if you choose to listen further to it. And up at the bar, you notice that someone is serving drinks. There's a heavily armor-clad gentleman who is sitting at the bar and is talking with her. And I'm going to show you what she looks like first before we move forward. This is her. This is Hellsa. Hellsa is a tiefling wearing, who has like iron-clad long horns and has a necklace that has an ornate signature on it. Leather, essentially a leather light armor that goes across her chest within a white tunic that goes for the long sleeves. She is holding and fixing some torches that are inside of the establishment and is talking to, of course, this gentleman who is there standing with her. And you hear a little bit of their conversation as you walk up. It's not that easy, Winton. If you're going to find any access, it's going to require either enough Obols to pay off the toll, an agreement with one of the Blackjay Lords, which we know can't be done easily, or you're going to have to need to bribe them in some other way. And I don't recommend sneaking through. One does not simply walk into the Umbral Corruption. So, what is it that you were planning on doing anyways?
The Blackjay Lords don't want me in their lands in the first place. The only way in is to go in the ways that they don't see.
I might have the guy for you, but he's expensive. I don't know if you'll be able to afford him.
I will offer up the jade on my neck if it will get me into the corruption, but it can only be given after we get there.
She looks at your black jade shard. Will you allow her to hold it?
I'm not taking it off my neck, but I will allow her to pull it up a bit.
So she lifts it to her face and she inspects it, and then she immediately jolts and drops it in front of you. You don't hear anything as it happens. And she goes, I don't know what that is. I've heard stories of souls imbuing different artifacts that people bring here, but that sounded like dozens of souls at once.
I know exactly what everyone here wants, right? The desperate, the downtrodden, they all come here for Black Jade.
There's a chance that might actually be helpful to one of the lords, but you're gonna have to send word for them. She walks outside, rings a bell. Ding, 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 ding! Vespa! Vespa, are you still here? And suddenly, you hear... and a bird lands just on the outside, perched above the actual signpost to the facility, and it is a walking, talking humanoid vulture-like creature. And he says, Hellsa, you could at least let me finish my drink before you gave me another assignment. And she says, I'm sorry, look, Winton has been a regular customer here. We want to treat him well as long as he's with us. Could you at least send this message for him? Say he's got a special artifact, an obol of spectacular proportion has multiple souls in it, and see if there are any takers. If you can bring back word, then maybe we can negotiate for it. And he says, which one do you want me to go and speak to? And she says, start with King Grimthorn, and then you might need to go to the vampires after that. After that return, you don't have enough time to get down to Queen Seraphina. And he says, "Okay. Can I just go after I finish?" "Yes, finish." And he says, "Okay, good. I'll stock off in about 30 minutes and I'll take off." And he flies up to the top perch where it seems that he is downing some food and drinking one of the drinks. She turns back to you. "I'm not promising anything. They might think that this is an aberration and they wish to destroy it, but something tells me that Count Volmort will have a lot of interest in this particularly. He's the Lord of the Vampires."
And how long will it take for them to get word back to us?
3 days. Vesper's fast, but I mean, he has to avoid all of the Umbral Corruption beasts that have been kind of howling through over the last few months.
I don't have the time to waste on every little delay.
Well-
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to... I don't have much time, and it needs to be done as fast as possible.
You feel, as soon as you say this, you feel a kind of cold necrotic energy shoot through the chain of your necklace and into the base of your spine, and you start to feel whispers again.
Shut up.
And it makes you feel as though you are aging faster, as though your body's beginning to sort of deform in front of you. She says, "Well, if you want to solve that problem yourself, I recommend you go and find a way to seek direct counsel with King Grimthorn, or with Count Volholm, or anyone else. Good luck. I can't do much more than that, I'm afraid."
Thank you for what you've been able to provide. I truly appreciate it.
So, she then walks back inside and is a little startled to see the four of you there. She clearly doesn't recognize you, and she says, "Hello, welcome to Death's Draught. For many, this is the last stop. Can I ask what the four of you are here for?"
This is our first stop.
Come again?
Our first stop.
She eyes this camera that you seem to have floating by you. And actually, what would she know about this? She says, "Okay. What is that? Is that thing armed?"
This? Oh no, don't worry about it.
"Okay, we require all weapons to be either peace-tied or handed over to authorities inside the establishment."
I promise you this is not a weapon. I am merely documenting everything that I am seeing right now.
Roll me an easy persuasion check.
Do I see that? Do I know what it is? Do I see, like...
You're here. You're seeing all of this as it unfolds.
So do I know what this orb next to him is?
I guess roll a difficult history check, or just roll intelligence.
I rolled a 10.
Cool. She looks at you. She says, "All right. Just don't thrust it in the direction of our other patrons. The last thing we want is for these people to break out into some
Don't
sort of
worry,
fight."
it'll stay right here next to me.
Okay. She seems suspicious of you, but she's going to let that slide. "And what are the rest of you here for? You said this was your first stop?"
Yes?
Yeah, well, we're hoping to go further into, we would know what the Umbral Corruption is.
You know that it's called the Umbral Corruption.
We're hoping to go further into the Umbral Corruption.
She eyes Winton and then looks back at you, and she says, "Y'all aren't with this gentleman, are you?"
Should we be?
No.
The five of you sort of lock eyes here in a kind of an awkward distance next to the bar.
The way I look, I pale olive skin, black lines going down my body.
Great.
Shaved on the sides of my head with hair on the top and decorated in red armor of the Ruby Empire.
Oh, great.
Can I make an Arcana check to see kind of what's going on with this guy?
What are you trying to figure out?
Well, just like, usually you don't see people with black veins running down the side of their face. There's
Correct.
some sort of curse going on. At least initially, I'm trying to figure out if it's contagious.
Yeah. So are you my question is, are you examining any particular thing closely, or are you getting closer to him to do so?
Oh, I think I would just be standing where I am. Just
Cool.
like...
Go ahead and roll Arcana with disadvantage.
Okay. That's 17.
Okay, wow. Yeah, so you didn't really study necromancy in any major aspect of your work at the Lunar Conservatory, and even you can tell this looks like some of the diagrams that you used to see in sort of your survey courses when you were going through the 8 schools of magic and kind of like how they work. This is definitely necrotic energy. it seems to be coming directly from this necklace that's around his neck. To your knowledge, with a 17, you're pretty confident, not sure, you're pretty confident that necrotic stuff like this is not contagious. It is usually as a result of a curse. It's a relationship, a decision, a spiritual moment. So it's not like transmitted through the air, so to speak. You're relatively sure.
Great.
So
I'll take it.
Helga? What?
Hellsa.
Hellsa. Just asked, like, if they're with me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you are not getting into the corruption anytime soon.
What makes you say that?
It's controlled by the Black Jade Lords, and they don't like people. They don't like me especially, but they don't like living people in general.
Well,
Not a fan of people either.
Yes,
Sorry, keep going.
it requires quite a bit of permissions, asks, favors that you are unlikely to have at this point, considering you're here and not in there. So, have fun talking to the people who want to kill you and raise you as their servants.
More bureaucratic nonsense.
Yeah, Winter has a point. Hellsa looks at you, still a little suspicious of your intentions. She says, most people who are traveling into the Umbral Corruption, it's because it's their dying rights. And a lot of the Black Jade Lords will let them do that freely because, frankly, it serves both parties well enough. But you don't seem to be in the same spirit where you're going to die. I remembered hearing you say that you were planning on returning. So they're a little uneasy about people going in and stirring up trouble in their own ruling spaces. Tell me, and she looks at you, Aerie, what exactly are you here for?
well, people come here when they're desperate, right?
Yes.
I'm as desperate as any. I lost someone dear to me, and in any case, if I can't get her back, then at least where I'm here saves the trip.
Oh, I see. This is to bring someone else back from the dead.
If I can.
That's a tall ask. I've heard a few stories of people being able to truly resurrect someone here.
She perks up.
She notes that. She says, you're going to need to have an extremely intimate knowledge of the person. You need to be very close with them, which it seems must be true.
Yes.
But you'll need more than that. Do you... She looks at all of your belongings. Happen to have her body here with you?
No, She, fingers her locket. Have, something I'm hoping is close enough.
She says, well, that's quite an awfully lot to bet on a hunch. But I can't say I have not heard this story before. A gentleman just 4 weeks ago came into the tavern and said that he was here to save his long-lost wife. Took one of her belongings as an obol, went into the Black Jade Lords, and I think he was in the same countenance as you. Was pretty sure that he would never return, but if he did, he'd be with a new life.
Where did he go?
Just that way. She gestures just sort of blankly in the direction of the Umbral Corruption.
Right.
Tell me, how desperate are you to save this friend of yours?
I would give anything.
Elsa, the path to the Emerald Corruption, the one with all the beasts and monsters that terrify the Black Jade Lords, that's not in their eyes, right? That's hidden. That more direct path that they can't see.
It is true that the reason King Grimthorn is moving northwest is because he doesn't want to have to deal with the Necrotic Beasts that have just recently, released. I don't know if he has a plan to return to that land anytime soon, or if he just will vacate the area and continue moving on. The Horde is notoriously nomadic. They'll just go wherever the bodies are.
Are you willing to risk your life?
I'm here, aren't I?
That doesn't answer my question. Are you willing to risk your life And I'm guessing these others as well.
I won't ask them to follow me.
Are you willing to follow her?
Depends. To where?
The Umbral Corruption.
Well, yeah.
Everyone wants to go, and no one wants to wait.
Yeah.
That seems to be the case.
This is perfect.
Is it? And why is that?
I need to go there. Desperately. And
There's a lot of that to go around.
the
isn't
fact
there?
that Youth 4 don't seem to care about your own lives really just puts a nice little bow on top of this party that I need.
Tom's pretty confident we'll get back.
Yeah. I plan on getting back.
I can promise you that I will do my best to make sure you do. Personally, I'm a cleric. I will keep you all alive. I have been trained to keep you all alive.
Perfect.
No promises, though.
You're required to do a stopping point as soon as possible.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, so at this point, Hellsa looks at all of you and says, there is... Thanks. So Hellsa responds to this. She looks at the rest of you and says, it's possible that Tom has more of a blind pride or fatalism about this, but I would actually recommend a stance closer to Tom's than that of... I'm sorry, what was your name?
Ari.
Than that of Eri. It's... The Black Jade Lords, they feed on souls who have nowhere else to go. The reason people carry Obols, these tokens of sentimental things that they have tethering them to the real world, is that if at any moment they truly lose hope, then that makes their souls more ripe for the taking. These spirits above us are much more willing to enter a willing host, one that is on the brink of suicide, than one that has much to live for. So perhaps some confidence is in order. Perhaps reminding yourselves of why you're doing this or where you're going to go back to is vital. But, and this is really important, the Umbral Corruption plays with your mind. You need to keep that present in a physical manifestation, reminding you of what those things are. So I ask all of you, what is the Obol that you'll be taking into the Black Jade Lords as a memory of why you're here and what you're planning to do? How will you tether yourselves to Chrysalis? And she just sort of looks there. She seems earnest. She's seeming like she wants to take care of you. I won't even make you roll insight. You would be able to infer that she's had this conversation many times and has rarely seen success for those on this journey.
So before we answer, people at the door said information isn't free. Would I be able to infer or read her as to whether she is doing this out of some sort of benign stewardship or whether she's trying to play us somehow?
Yeah. So go and roll insight. I gave you the easy roll. We'll see if you can learn more.
17.
17. With this roll, I would say you are reasonably confident that So, Hellsa is tough. She's weathered. She has hardened her heart to the realities of people constantly coming through her tavern and never returning. So, even though this feels like a bit of a formality to you, you would think that the reason she does this is because she wholeheartedly believes she is helping people. In short, she is not playing you.
Okay.
Could we pause while we think of our answers?
Yeah. Why don't you think of the things you'll present to Hellsa, and we will be right back. Is live, and going back to my control center, playing music.
Pelicant.
Okay. So, she looks at the rest of you and she says, I recommend you have an obol of something that tethers you to Chrysalis. So, what will those be? And I want two of you to roll insight. This is not from Tom's roll from earlier, looking at what her intent was. It's
a wisdom skill.
I've got 2.
I have +2.
I got
4.
+6.
Oh yeah, does Jordan count?
yeah, he's with you.
Sick him.
Nice.
16.
16?
It's 11.
11. Winton, It occurs to you that Hellsa is someone that you might be able to trust, but there's something strange about standing in the middle of a bar and sharing these personal items of yours. You think it might be best to handle this conversation elsewhere.
I stand up from the bar. Is there like a back going to the kitchen kind of thing?
Yeah.
I just start going. I start walking to the door. I turn around, look at everyone. We're going to share some very personal information. Do you want to share it in the bar with 14 other people?
Fair point.
Hellsa reacts quickly. She's like, yes, fair enough. In fact, you don't really need to share them with me if you don't want. I just recommend that you have something. And she gestures in such a way as to say, if you want me to come, I will come. If not, then I will stay here.
What is yours?
She unclasps her necklace and she holds it in front of you. It's one of them, at least. It's often good to sort of spread out your obols in case something were to happen, but this was something that my son gave me before he went off to war. And every time I wear it, I think of him.
In you come, Hellsa.
Is there a way to get a message out of the Black Jade Lords?
Yeah, every fortnight we have a carriage come with new supplies from the Emerald Egalitary. We could send something back with them.
Great. Would it be too much of an ask to send a letter back?
Oh, no, of course. You can, we actually have a mailbox here. As long as you put it in there before you leave, then we can send it back.
Excellent.
A lot of people will write a form of last testament as they prepare for their pilgrimage. Did you specifically invite her?
Yes,
Okay.
I told her to come in after she showed us
Cool.
the necklace.
I'll say y'all are kind of back in a side area for preparing some of the foods and drinks. It is private enough.
As we walk in, I reach toward the symbol of Tempest before changing and going to my the symbol that shows my rank in the Ruby Empire, and I set it down. I am a cleric of the Ruby Empire. I want to go back. This is my connection to the mortal plane. And it'll be my guide as we go in.
This is good. I imagine the Ruby Empire has very strong camaraderie bonds amongst their ranks. I recommend that you keep in mind the faces specifically, faces and names of those that you fought alongside, or those that you want to return to.
I grab it and put it back where it belongs.
She looks at the rest of you expectantly.
I reach into my pocket, and I have an emerald-colored cloth in my hand, where on top you can see the logo of the Emerald Conservancy. I open up the cloth, and there's a folded piece of paper. I open it up, and it is a photograph of everyone for the time of our leader's death. This is the last memory I have before my life took the turn for the worst, and what I've made myself today. It is the only thing that has kept me going. I give this.
That's very good. Well, like the advice I gave Winton, keep their faces and names in mind. But specifically those who are still alive. I know that you've probably lost several. You want to be grounded to something that is still in the material plane. She leans back.
Eric?
I have my quarterstaff that was from a large tree in the Obols Refuge that was like a branch that was preserved and kind of formed into this quarterstaff that I carry around with me. That I use to remember what I can from the Obols Refuge.
How much do you remember of your time in the Obols Refuge? Most people that come from there don't have many specific memories.
Not a ton of specific memories, but I remember the feeling and the connection to nature and just the trees and the spirit of the forest. That's not only in the Obols Refuge, but that is everywhere and should be everywhere.
Why don't you roll me a wisdom save? One thing that Cypress has to process from his time in the Obols Refuge is that this illusory magic systematically erases the minds of those who leave that aren't from like a Fey background. So let's see what happens.
22.
22. So in this moment, you're trying to conjure specific memories, and in this moment, you're able to do so. You are able to remember a few of the particularities around someone from your local grove inside the Obols Refuge that helped you actually, like, taught you how to weave the stick and turn it into the likeness that you can use both for travel and for combat. Explain to you the basis of, like, shillelagh and what it means to, you know, imbue it with magical power, and you have the memory of this person in your head. What's the name of this person who actually, like, specifically taught you the craftsmanship around the staff?
Thomas.
Sure. If you say it.
I said it.
If you say it, it's canon. Yeah. Thomas was someone from your grove. He wasn't directly related to you, but was someone who lived there and was one of the healers from the local Obols Refuge. So,
Can you spell Thomas?
THAMUS.
Almost.
Okay.
Okay.
MUS.
So she says, that's going to be a hard sell, but maybe your friends can help you to maintain that grounded sense as you move deeper into the corruption. Feelings back?
Ari opens the locket and pulls the piece of the parchment with Kita's name on it. Like Mordecai said, I have a people to get back to. A people that I left and owe everything to. For them, I need to return.
You mention this, and she seems to take like a deep breath as she's listening to you. And she doesn't say anything, but she nods, just gently.
Back in the locket and close it.
Outside of the tavern, you hear two large hounds howling. And then you hear a man yelling, and then they quiet up.
Do I recognize the symbol that they're showing right now?
Give me a crazy history check. This was intentionally an underground operation.
Yeah, 11.
Okay, no. You're like, there's an emerald on that. Maybe they're from there.
I'll add that there's that card at the
this
top of my
sun.
quarterstaff
Oh, okay, cool.
from
Yeah.
my time in the insurgency.
Awesome. She looks at you, Tom.
Yeah, I have a notebook from the professor who ran my laboratory. It contains some of her research and questions, the answering of which are the reason that I'm here and the reason that I keep going.
You said she's missing.
Yes.
Do you know if she's with us still?
I do not know.
Well, I suppose you'll find out.
Wait, does that mean that all of the dead people go here?
No, but if that Obol proves to you to not have much value, then it means that the memory to whom it's tethered has been severed. And you won't be able to get much value out of that particular object. So just be careful.
Okay.
She looks at all of you together and she says, I've done this many times, but it's not often for people who want to return. It's usually for those who feel like they want to leave their soul in a good place. If you really want to journey forward, then you might have a rare opportunity. You see, over the last 3 weeks, something has happened in the Umbral Corruption. They've been these stories of locals, of these large necrotic beasts that have been prowling the lands freely, uncontrolled by the lords themselves, and wreaking havoc on the local populations. King Grimthorn and his zombies are giving word of this monstrosity that is stitching together an aberration of corpses and a monstrous entity. There's another force that the vampires are complaining about, and yet another that the Crypt Keepers and their queen are discussing. It's as if all of these are being attacked simultaneously. And it's causing the Umbral Corruption to spread ever further outward. There's a chance that either you might find alignment with these lords, and they might grant you safe passage through their kingdoms freely if you work with them to defeat these lords, or that the distraction caused by these beasts might give them enough reason to look the other way if you were to try to sneak through. But remember, the closer you get to the Umbral Corruption, the more you're going to need critical, priceless, memorable Obols, or you won't be able to withstand their effects. You hear a voice from the back of the bar chime in. Did someone say Obols? And she says, yes, this group here seeks passage through to the Umbral Corruption, and they wish to return. And the voice goes, that can't be. And you hear, you see as a figure pops up from one of the corners of the room and immediately just starts scurrying directly towards you. She sits down at one of the tables nearby the kitchen where you were kind of sequestered, and she pops her feet up on the desk. She is a drow elf with just gray and black boots and attire. She's got pointed ears and a pale complexion, and a demeanor that I would describe as irreverent, as possibly chaotic. But as she looks at all of you, she says, Okay. Sorry. Bad introduction. My name is Vespera. You can just call me Vespera. And one of the things that I trade in is obols of all kinds. So, if you wish, and you've got some gold to spend, we can make a trade of sorts. You see, a lot of people, they come here, and they have no need for gold past this point. Death's Draught is the last stop, am I right? but it's really more of a matter of taking the obols, trading for gold. Gold mine, of course, it will be mine. And then I can supply you with obols from, she tips, sort of tacks her fingers together, and you can hear her nails making a clicking noise. Are there pilgrims who lost their way? On the way to the Umbral Corruption, of course. That's me, Vespera, at your service. Are you interested in any of my wares?
Do you have anything from the Ruby Empire, graverobber?
Let's find out. She reacts to your statement, graverobber, and she goes... You see that her ears twitch in place as she shakes them. She's like, graverobber of the highest caliber. Without graverobbers, where would the memories of these people ever become? We could never document them. We could never know of their presence here. They just they wash into a sea in the sky of souls. This is honorable work that I'm doing here. You honor me with such a compliment. And she, of course, begins to gesture towards a section of the room that feels like an actual place that she's allowed to set up shop, something Hellsa must implicitly condone. There are cabinets there that she gestures to with different drawers of all kinds, and I rolled for her. She says, yes, there actually is an oboe that might be helpful to you. You see, I found on a dead soldier sometime on the west side of the Black Jade Lords. It was a bit of a quill and journal, an ink parchment, and there were some notes that were written from what must have been a colonel or a general in one of the Ruby Empire's armies. She then clocks your badge that you're wearing on your arm, and she says, you know, it might have been someone from your own brigade. Well, if you want to buy it, it's going to be 25 gold pieces, so
What?
That's on you.
I'm talking more to Hellsa at this point. Would these even be helpful to us? I thought Obols were meant to be personal to us.
Vespera here has some value. It's really more of the fact that if you have multiple Obols, then you might be able to dissuade different kinds of souls seeking to enter your body. It's a diversified portfolio, if you will. One of the values of Obols is that if they really did carry these memories, those memories get imparted to you after those pilgrims died in the Blackdrake Lords. You would be able to see a bit into that person's history and even commune with their spirit a bit. It's a little strange. It's like having a small voice in the back of your head. But as long as you have it, it protects you from the Umbral Corruption's power.
And you trust her wares?
I have personally used a few of them, and they do help. I haven't gone as far as you claim to be wanting to go, but I know that the closer that I get to the Umbral Corruption, the more it's nice to listen to the extra voices in my head than the thousands screaming in the sky.
I take out my cloth and I go to Vespera and I go, has anyone else given an obol with this image on
It's
it?
the sun symbol.
Vespera goes, actually, and she pulls it closer. I have a letter that was written by one of the people who was a pilgrim here that actually refers to the description of that same symbol. If you want it, I can sell it to you. But I can't just be letting you touch my wares. You don't want to commune with something unless you're willing to part with gold to have it.
And how much?
Oh, well, that one will be, 35 gold pieces. Oh, what? What are you going to do with that gold? You're going to throw it at the beasts when they come fighting you? I didn't think so. 35 gold pieces.
Can you please show me the book?
I will let you look at the book. You may not touch it.
While she's grabbing that, is the letter just sitting on a shelf?
You don't know where it is. It's presumably in one of these many drawers that she hasn't opened yet.
Okay. All right.
She turns and keeps an eye on you while opening one of the drawers and pulling out.
That's like going through 14 filing cabinets. I'm not.
And she looks at a journal inside and she holds it up and goes, "Oh, now let me just take a quick look and see if we find something here to. Yes, yes. The forces of the Atyogs were at war with King Grimthorn, and oh, interesting. Yep, casualties on both fronts, and then well, that's fascinating. Well, you have to read more to see what happens next. I do love books with a great cliffhanger. 25 gold pieces.
Can you drop the price?
She drops it down and seems indignant. Looks at you and says, "How much would you be willing to offer me?"
All the gold in my pouch.
I've seen people come to these parts, desperate for a new life or to get rid of their old one, and it's often not because they are overflowing with gold. 25 gold pieces.
10 gold pieces.
You ridicule me in front of my other patrons. She gestures to an open bar where everyone else is having somber conversations, completely not engrossed in your conversation right now.
Where's the book right now?
The book?
The book that she just dropped down?
She put it on the table and put her hand on top of it to make a point of this. She's like,
how sneaky are you, Ava?
So her hand,
down
genuine,
fast.
I will paint the scene. You can try. Her hand is on top of the book, which is on the table, because she's leaning on it, gesturing towards you, Winton.
Can I make an investigation check? As a scientist, I think that the odds that she has a book from one of the Red Atyogs, given that there's 12 of them, I think she's bluffing.
Yeah, so this is just an insight check. You're reading whether she's lying.
Check. Yes.
And you can go ahead. I will allow 2 of you to try. I don't allow 5 people.
For
to
insight?
Try. Sure.
Hang
Yeah.
on, let me see what my
I want to do an insight too then.
Yeah.
I've got +2.
I got +2.
I got +6.
4.
Okay, they should.
Okay, do y'all want to do it then?
21.
Dirty 20.
21. Winton. Vespera is clearly an industrious and entrepreneurial figure. you can tell that she's not making up the truth, but stretching it. There might be some weight to what she has in her hand, but she's clearly not showing you the contents because it might not be exactly what you're looking for.
Because she would know that you were from...
Yeah, I'm
The
literally
army.
decorated in it right now.
Right. And yeah.
25 gold pieces.
Let me touch it, and I will... Before I buy it?
It doesn't work like that. The moment you touch it, you already get to see into its soul, and I can't sell this to someone else.
Can I do an insight check
Try
on
reading
my...
it without touching it.
Can I do an insight check on my holy symbol of Tempest?
Yeah. Oh, like a divine sort of... It has this be as is the creature who used this journal, like, communed with Tempest?
Yeah.
Fascinating. Yeah. Okay.
Like, what am I doing for this? Insight?
Religion.
Religion.
Yeah.
Alright. 9!
Wait,
So-
you don't have any bonuses on religion?
No, that's an intelligence check for some reason.
Oh,
You're a cleric.
that's so funny.
What do you
Yeah,
mean?
it's weird. It's weird. It's what it is. I don't know. But yeah, you pull out your symbol and you're sort of praying. You're trying to figure out if there's really communion between this entity and your journal, and you get a bit of a ping. Soft. You're really unclear. Your mind is still grappling with these extra voices, but one of the voices in your head says, "A warrior of us," and you don't know what that means.
So...
You got any plants? It doesn't matter if it's specific plants. Plants do it.
So I rolled this up in advance just to see. He's like, I have a walking stick.
You could do a wield.
Tool.
Guild staffs.
I want to turn to the rest of you.
Yeah, sure.
So, as...
Would you like to see it?
As your
Yeah.
guide, as someone who's been here for several weeks and has been serving here for a little bit before that,
What's your name again?
I'm Winton.
Okay,
It's very nice
to know
meet
that we
you.
have a name now, Mr. Guy.
Yeah, let me handwave one thing that could have happened in the midst of any of this is Winton's eventually going to explain to you what he learned about the terrain of the land. The map that you have in front of you, or the one that's on paper,
Oh, yeah,
is a representation of what Winton learned from his conversation.
I've been exploring this.
Jordan's holding up the physical map just casually.
I drew this. So,
That's really
would
good.
you say that 15 gold is worth a guide and a little bit of a map to
She
the...
said 25. Didn't
I've
she?
got 10.
Don't say that in your negotiations.
Stop.
You
No.
have 4.
I'm a very honest soul. Things have not been going my way.
Oh, 15 gold. That's too bad. Well, maybe your friends here can help cop off the rest of it.
What do you think I'm doing, grave robber?
Grave robber, yes.
Grave
thank
robber,
you,
help
thank
me
you.
out here. If you want the gold, help me.
She starts tussling her own hair. Yes, well, I'll let you figure that out by yourself. She puts the book up and she says, but you're not getting this without 25 gold pieces.
You
So
are explicitly unhelpful.
now you, let me do business with someone who might actually have more gold to throw around. So she pulls out a drawer and then pulls out what is about a 4-foot walking stick. It's got an oak
despise
texture
this
to
great
it and it is intricately carved at the top. And you see that there is a symbol for something of a religious order. You could roll to see more about that. But she says, yeah, this was owned by a half-elf cleric that used to live somewhere near the Emerald Egalitary. Now, he died in a very unfortunate way. But nonetheless, when his son came to go on this pilgrimage, he brought the walking stick with him. So, nothing quite like the bond between father and son. Am I right? And she sort of twists the staff in hand so you can see the whole thing side to side.
And how much would this...
And what's so funny? She gestures at Mordecai.
I'm just thinking that in all my time, I've been in what is considered one of the most beautiful and illustrious places in all of my account of my time in my kingdom. That I've never really experienced true beauty until I laid my eyes upon you.
Okay, before we go with that...
Before we do that.
Before we start flirting,
You said she put the book back, right?
Yeah, she put it back in the show. Yeah.
Mage hand invisible, don't do anything, it just appears right there. I want to do a mage hand while he's talking. She's talking to him.
Well, he's-
So it's gonna go from her hand into the drawer, and then she's gonna shut the drawer. Are you trying to take it from her hand, or are you trying to like grab it right before she shuts the door? It's a really narrow window.
Can I have it slowly open and...
It is I'll just telegraph to you, it is very difficult.
Okay, never mind.
It would be a very difficult thing to pull up. You're seeing this in like the second you have.
I'm not feeling lucky. I'm not gonna do that.
Okay, so she shuts it and she looks back at you, and you've apparently made this proclamation
We have
to
a
her.
rogue, you know.
So you made this proclamation to her, right?
Mm-hmm.
She says, actually, I have no. Let's see.
How much does she like this?
She goes, that is just the strangest way anyone has started a negotiation with me.
Who says it's a negotiation?
Why don't you roll deception? Let's find out.
Is it a deception?
I will tell you that she is very insightful due to her craft.
19.
Okay. She says,
Yeah. Okay.
she leans, so she pulls her feet off the desk and she actually leans forward and puts her hands on the desk, leans onto her hands. And she eyes you very deeply, trying to get a read on the kind of person you are. And she says, I know people like you. You think that you can get anything you want just because you weave together the perfect silvery words. And that I'm going to self-destruct a business that I've spent many years building up just because you what? Because you want me to feel something?
Or more like, I want to feel something. You don't know me. You don't know me.
Why don't you prove it? Why don't you give me an obol of yours? We can make a bit of a quid pro quo and see if anything comes out of this, huh?
Does that
Her golden eyes pierce directly through you, daring you to move forward.
I pull out a drum.
She probably made the face that I'm making right now, which is can barely hold back laughter, smirk. She says, she makes a gesturing noise, which is to say, go on, no, please, go
You
on.
look at me like I'm crazy.
I look at you because you are crazy. I'm gonna see how the rest of the bar is doing right now. They don't care.
I have suffered great loss. You would know about loss, right? You're always just going through and taking whatever you want from whoever it is that is unfortunate enough not to fight back anymore.
Stone cold expression. She responds, I gain what I want. I lose not what I don't want. It's my trade. I've experienced nothing of the sort. And she eyes you steely.
You asked for a noble. And here I have one. This drum that I would play as I tried to rally myself every evening before I became the man that I am. To rally others.
She smells the air. She goes, I don't sense a lot of power coming from that obol. Are you sure this has significance to you?
Absolutely.
Go ahead and roll persuasion, flat.
Oh, flat?
No, well, sorry, which is to say neither
no.
advantage nor disadvantage.
Okay.
I was giving you a chance, but it ultimately didn't work out.
Oh, cool. Thanks. 17.
Okay. She goes, whatever. No skin off my back, frankly. Because if I find out that you've double-crossed me and I kill you for this, well then suddenly this drum will actually mean a lot more in Obol's terms. So, it's fine by me. What would you want again? Just describe it. I might have it in my wares.
The cleric's book.
She goes, fine. It's not one of my more expensive items anyways. She's coordinating this in a very specific way to where she will touch your drum at the same time that Linton receives the device. do you go through with it?
I do.
Okay. She takes the drum into her possession, and she begins to look at it very closely. She smells it.
That's not how you typically play drums. I don't
Oh,
know
I
if
was
you.
hearing drone.
She completely ignores you. She's listening very closely, and she goes, "You sly dog." Oh, maybe I can convince the next guy that it's valuable. Oh well. You win some, you lose some. You got to take gambles every now and then.
I have taken. I'm just flipping through it as
Yeah.
fast as possible.
So I'm gonna hand wave. This journal was actually written by someone from the Ruby Empire. Was actually written by someone in one of the vanguards, these battalions. Not from the Red Atyugs. We'll say that it was from a different group. But let's say on raw luck. Why don't you roll luck for me? Let's see how close they are to you or someone from your battalion.
18.
Yeah. So you're gonna say this person actually knew General Cedric pretty well. They even name drop one or two more of your actual comrades, like the people you fought alongside in the previous battle. So this person has a pretty intimate understanding of what it's like to be in the military. Even writes, the creed, the code of honor, some of the recitations of sort of self-respect and prayers to Tempest directly. Vesper wasn't necessarily doing you dirty. This is maybe not from the Red Atyugs, but it's pretty significant. And as soon as you bring this book into your possession, you hear another voice in your head. And it goes, "Honor. Honor to the Ruby Empire. Thank you. Return me to my master."
Thank you.
Gotta catch
Thank
up.
you. You just see like I am trying to display that I'm grateful to you, but I'm also like wincing in pain as like damn it.
You hear a lot of voices in your head whispering, "Not welcome here. Get him out. Get him out." You seem to be having a bit of an internal discussion.
Hellsa, and this is a bit of an aside.
She's behind the counter serving somebody else a drink at the moment, and she hears you speak her name, and she goes, yes, 1 second. She walks over.
Is she right? Is gold not valuable here?
Well, there are mercenaries that around these parts you might be able to spend some gold on, but most people deal in Obols. There's not much reason to have gold if the Blackjade Lords want you for your soul, or your body, or both.
Tom, is there anything you're interested in?
Yeah, I think while Ari is talking to Hellsa, I would kind of distract her. I don't think Tom is super psyched about the idea of Obols, just because he's skeptical that he would need one.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you can see memories or talk to somebody who has traveled through here before, I think Tom would say, well, do you have anything from the Library of Evolution?
She thinks to herself, she's like, the Library of Evolution? That's 40 days away from here. You think that something is going to be like, She thinks to herself, no, not really. It's kind of... Well, okay. One of the stories in the back of my head is a travel map. There was a cartographer that used to travel through all of the regions. He surely spent some time in the Sapphire Scholars because it's clearly well marked there. Maybe he would have some memories that you could tap into.
Yeah, I could take it or leave it. I think if anybody else has something they would want more.
I'm interested in the letter.
How much is that stick
35?
you have?
No.
The stick, yes. I'll be honest with you. When the son came to me and he traded this off, he made out like it was this intimate story he had with his dad, and he put it together, and I do think that there's quite a lot of value in that. I can do you for 20 gold pieces.
It's a stick.
It is a story. And story's what you need, Mr. Whatever you had over there in your pocket. Didn't seem very valuable to me. She sniffs the air again. Well?
Do you have any other plants or anything with nature, not necessarily people? I don't do with people very much.
I have a rock.
I have a bag full of rocks.
It's a rock. Yeah, there's a relic from a ritual that didn't go very well, and it was a painted rock that an artist once made. This was over in the Ruby Empire.
Your Obols don't have much use to me.
Well, it's your funeral. I'm just trying to make a little bit of cash here before people go off on their own. But sorry for trying to get you the most potent Obols.
You should take it.
A letter?
I've got 9 to give.
I have my 10.
I am honor bound to help after what you've done. I have got 10.
That's 29.
And I've got 10.
Well, I need 35.
I can help. I'm not
We've got it.
gonna buy anything from her.
Okay.
I'm sorry. What did you want to get? Did you want to serenade me with this drum that I now have?
No, I can't. You have the drum. Which is why I gave it to you, because it's special to me. But if all you require is gold, then how about we trade 35 pieces for the letter?
Gold is a little bit more of my language. Thank you. And what were you hoping to get from this letter anyways? She reaches back to find it.
Nostalgia.
Well, once you attune to it, it's gotta be in your head. I can't tell you exactly what they're going to say to you, but if it brings up past memories, then, no refunds. She hands it to you and holds out her hand for gold. She instantly, like a magician, stacks the gold really quickly and is able to count it through these stacks. And she goes, all right, well, pleasure doing business with all of you. I hope these Obols find you well on your journey. And if you do happen to come back and find any relics along the way, I will buy them at a nice price. That is, if you actually return. So, how does it feel? And what do you do?
So is the letter in
Yeah,
an
letters in
envelope?
your, yeah, it's in an
Okay,
envelope. Yeah.
okay.
It's already been opened.
Oh,
but-
okay.
But it's
I
been
start
resealed.
reading the letter.
Yeah. So, again, just a little bit more hand waving. The letter, and sorry, remind me, what did I already establish about the letter from earlier?
It described the symbol.
It has the symbol.
Yeah,
on
it has the
symbol of the sun.
The rebel symbol on it.
Oh! I remembered her telling you that it did, and it doesn't. Just straight up doesn't. By the time she pulled it out and you paid her, doesn't have it. It has an emerald insignia on it, but let's roll to see how relevant it is. Actually, I'll have you roll. Roll luck.
It's just a flat roll.
Oh, just a flat roll? Okay. 19.
Okay. So this letter is, it looks as though a merchant wrote this. A merchant that is a correspondent between the Emerald Egalitary and their trade peoples in the Amethyst Kingdom. This person, who will name, say, Fairmont, is writing to some of the legal counsel about some new decisions that need to be made. And across it, you see... So I'll go through the description. He's basically saying, in order to ensure a more equitable distribution of wealth in the blah-blah-blah-blah-blah, we need to make sure that we have a tariff on blah-blah-blah-blah-blah. So it's diplomacy, economic trade, very boring regulation. But then, halfway down the sheet, you see that the pen scratches off the page, like he was interrupted in the middle of his writing. And then, afterwards, you see written in a completely different handwriting statements from someone amounting to a kind of proletariat uprising. This person says, the people, the leaders of the egalitary mean us harm. We are the only ones capable of stopping it. And then it's signed off with a name you don't recognize. In fact, I need to make it up right now. We'll just say it's Kashak, so Kachak. And you don't recognize his name.
Harry, do you recognize his name?
Yeah, roll history.
What do I roll?
Actually, what's your background?
Noble.
Add your proficiency modifier to this.
That's a nat 20.
This is very relevant to her.
Okay, so you see this letter from Fairmont. It seems as though they intentionally overtook this as like a like not an act of terrorism, but like as a threat. And Kashak is the signature. You look at this letter that's in his hands, and this memory comes to you. You were in a meeting of the inner leaders of the Emerald Insurgency where Sora was describing different key connections that are undercover inside the regulatory authorities of the state of the Emerald Egalitary. And that one of the most powerful levers that you could pull in order to force the hand of people like the leaders at Krya is tariffs. It's an embargo on trade. It's a restriction until certain things are met. Maybe civil rights are protected. And Kashak is not a real person. It's a moniker. Somebody that is representative of an entity inside the leadership uses that name in a scare tactic. And you're very aware of their work. We'll even say you remember multiple times that key leaders were removed for a period of time so as to instill perhaps a different order, and then they would be reinstated, often undergoing a very big internal policy shift. What happens behind scenes, you don't actually know. You weren't part of this particular entity.
Yeah.
Kashak is the moniker name.
Would I be aware of this?
Why don't you roll? Yeah, you also roll. Don't add your prof.
Is it just
You.
Oh, it's history? It's history.
5?
5. You look at this and you're like, this guy doesn't like the Emerald Egalitary leadership.
I like him!
So I'll relay to both of them that this is one of our actors on the inside. This is us. This is not just a random merchant. This is us.
Hell yeah.
And you hear a voice pops into your head, and this person says, "Take me back. Finish the job we started." And you see a vision of various council leaders of the Emerald Egalitary, the 4 cabinet leaders. Their faces flash across your face, and you see a variety of instruments flash on a table in front of you. Some of them are quill and ink, some of them are sword and dagger and rapier, and others with artistic elements to them, masks and canvases and musical instruments. And this voice is now talking in the back of your head. Mordecai looks speechless.
Sorry, I'm not really sure. Like, do I talk?
This just happens inside, and you know it's internal to you.
Okay. I know a lot about trade routes now.
Nice.
Fair.
Okay.
Well, all right.
Hellsa says, "Look, we just sent our vulture informant to go and send news about these wares to some other leaders, but I think you best get going. We heard recently that one of the newest creatures that is at the outskirts is possibly the most aggressive of the 4. It's a monstrosity that is stitching together these dead bodies. I think that if you were to go and investigate, you might find direct counsel with King Grimthorn, or, better still, might be able to acquire some more Obols that you can take directly to the source. Here, I'll put a spot on the map here that you can follow, and if you were to follow this path directly, you would find yourself there immediately. Do note that the people of the town you're visiting are in a bit of an unrest. They have already a uneasy relationship with King Grimthorn. But now with this beast encroaching and King Grimthorn, risking leaving their lands entirely, they would no longer have protection from a beast like this. Anyway.
Can I say that this map is like a combination of the information from the Ruby Empire that I just kind of have and my exploration throughout?
Yeah. So this is basically what you've been able to piece together.
Before we go, I do want to send that letter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll step over to the side and write it. Before I send it, though, I want to scribble a little picture of Aegon in the corner and tear it off so I have a piece of the letter to keep with me before I send it.
Okay. So that's now in your pocket or in your
And I'll keep it in the locket.
Okay.
I send it to him at the Sapphire Scholars, where I assume he would be.
Yeah. Okay. We can show later what that letter
I'll write
entails.
that off screen.
Where on the map does she mark?
We'll just say you know where. You would know where.
You know where she are.
The paths from here into the Black Jade Lords are actually pretty straightforward. They're relatively long stretches, not many points of interest, and they jump directly between the 4 Black Jade Lords. In any order, you can take junctions to go to any of them, but the one that is closest to you on the outskirts, only 1, maybe 2 days' journey away, is King Grimthor's land of really what we could just call the undead, the zombies that he controls. This used to be I'll wait until you get there, but that is the one where the most recent sightings of one of these necrotic beasts have been found.
All right. So you said students are with you.
Yes.
That would be us.
Sounds like.
What exactly are you
Student is a
studying?
stretch.
Well, we haven't spent a whole lot of time at school, actually.
So
We're more
you're
of-
not students.
More of adventurers.
I'm undecided.
Just consider us adventurers. and
Basically,
party
everybody in the
members.
Celestial Conservatory is students with air quotes.
So none of you know anything about necromancy.
I know some. I have been studying that as of late.
I know the theory of necromancy.
I've
Do
played
you
a
have any-
necromancer.
That is helpful for the future. We're doing this as like we're walking on the road, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I imagine y'all just like kind of pack up and leave, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, let's simply walk into the Black Jade Lords.
Then do any of you? I guess neither of you. Although maybe you studied something when you decided to play necromancer. Did either of you two? Do you know what this?
Oh, that's a curse.
That's a black jade. Even I know that, but
I was talking about what's inside of it, but I understand the confusion. I did not word that right.
I assume I wouldn't know anything about that.
What?
Ben
Played
might
a
have a
necromancer
better
in a
shot than me.
comedy, okay? Like, I had no props. It was kind of last minute. I was an understudy. Like, I don't have a lot of info on this, I'm sorry.
Disappointing, but I understand.
It seems to be the source of the black veins running down your face and probably isn't good for you. I would recommend getting rid of it.
yeah, you go ahead and take it off.
I can't, and that is... I already knew that. So it turns out that the greatest scholastic organization in the land does not, in fact, know that much. That is disappointing.
Well, Ari's the one who studied necromancy.
Would I know anything about this?
Roll a crazy high. You pick
Nah,
history
20.
or
Nah,
arcana.
20.
I mean, I can understand my part. I was literally a soldier
arcana.
fighting against
History.
necromancy. I understand the basics.
9.
9? Cool.
But-
You're looking at him and you're like, necrotic things die. Maybe he's dying.
You might be dying.
Dead?
I 100% believe so, yes.
Oh! That's always fun.
It is a very disturbing and...
I find that those are dead that have the least to live for. They're
No.
very useful in
No.
insurgencies.
You are actually quite wrong. Those who are dead have the most to live for because they desperately want to go back to serving the Ruby Empire as a proper cleric of Tempest.
That's very specific.
serve an empire.
That's crazy.
Yes.
And all those people in the sky?
They all want to serve the Ruby Empire.
If they were alive, I have no doubt in my mind that they would choose the correct choice of wanting to serve the Ruby Empire to bring peace to the
You've
land.
been granted the greatest chance to flee the empire and rule yourself. Why would you want to go back?
No. I was chased out because of this black jade in the veins on my neck. I desperately want to go back.
Exactly.
I
They
have
turned
one
on you in
fiddle
an
with me.
instant.
What makes
Why
you
would
think
you
they
want
will
to go
not
back?
strike on sight?
If I remove this and I go back to the way everything was before, everything should be fixed.
Have
You
tried
can
cutting it
never
off?
trust those in power.
I've
They'll
tried-
just turn on you. You've
I
seen it.
imagine it's angry at this point.
So,
Wait, are you angry at me?
The youngest fiddle that's with me might be.
yes, go ahead and, I mean, are you doing anything with it? Are you?
No, I just imagine that, speak of, like, loving the Ruby Empire
Yeah,
might upset her spirit that is tied to this thing. with her
Interesting.
achievements.
I'll roll something. So yeah, you sense that there's so in the entire atmosphere around you, cold, brisk, dry air, and in your hands, this fiddle that was Uyanga's, that was given to you, starts to feel warmer. It's picking up some energy.
Why don't we table this for the time being?
I mean, none of you know anything about necromancy, so I'm fine with that.
You sense the heat of the fiddle dissipate. Great. Okay, so at this point, all 5 of you, now united, take a step outside of Death's Draught. Hellsa looks at you and she says, "One last drink for the road?"
I have no money.
Don't worry. The drinks here aren't that good anyways. And she makes something that's basically a pretty cheap version of like a whiskey or ale, whichever you prefer, and then is going to hand you each
immediately.
Thanks.
I guess a whale ski.
Reminds me of
Oh,
Bell
whales.
I
Love
do have
me
a
some
question
whales.
for you.
Reminds
The
me of Bell
mints that I
Rat.
stole last session, how many was I able to grab with that? Do you
The
have
mints?
How many did you intend
You
to
took
try?
one and then you grabbed an extra.
I
No, she
tried
has
to
palmed.
grab a
Oh, I
handful.
see.
Yeah.
I see.
D4 plus 1.
Great. Just 4.
Do they only work when mixed with alcohol?
So does she get
We don't know.
the 1 plus the 4 or 4 total?
I'm gonna make myself a Death Draught cocktail.
1 plus the 4.
sounds
Why
good.
not? 5 total.
Wow.
Let's see what I can cook up.
Perfect.
a draught tail?
Alright.
No, that's the thing.
So,
Anyway.
I know the general direction to King Grimthorn.
Well, yeah, she marked it on your map.
Yeah, she marked it on
We're
my
walking
map.
that way.
She put a big circle on it.
Well,
right here.
I
Right there.
Right
have
dotted
one of,
line
I
as
have
we
one of the
move.
rare few maps of the Black Jade Lords. It has been scouted multiple times.
Yeah, but don't act like you knew that already when she circled it on the map.
Well, I didn't know where he was currently. I knew where he was before because he did not allow me to go deeper.
So there's a chance we get to that circle, he won't be there.
No, there's
Point of
no.
order?
There's a new. This is the new circle.
Point of order. We're not heading to King Grimthorn, right? We're heading to the village where there was the sighting of the monster.
Which way are we going?
It's in his domain.
Okay, it's in his domain, but we're not expecting him to be in the village when we get there.
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not.
They
Okay.
grant you like
So, are we going to the
short
village
rest?
now?
We don't know that.
Yeah, I think so.
That's what he said.
So all of you walk outside, and you are Mordecai. You had something to say?
No, say Winton, I just want to let you know this is an orb. It is recording everything that we do.
Oh.
So just heads up.
I look at it. Just praise be to the Ruby Empire.
And that,
I roll my eyes real big.
I love it. Okay,
Harry
so
fiddles angrily.
I double tap the orb, which undoes the last 10 seconds.
I would say you don't know how it works. You think maybe he's zooming in on you right now.
Were you zooming in to like really get in the proper?
Yeah,
Ruby
smile
Empire?
big.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so actually, Mordecai, when you do that, so you've been filming all of this, right?
Yeah, that entire thing was filmed. How much
So-
memory do I?
That's
30 hours.
genuinely going to be a part of the mechanics of how this orb works. I'm going to
Okay.
say that the total amount of film that you can keep on the device every long rest before it basically gets exported to a crystal of some kind is like 10 minutes. So it's not a lot. You have to systematically choose the things that you're going to keep for your story. So we'll play a little minigame right now. I want you to jot down the 2 to 5 things that you want to keep from any of this conversation, and those things are going to matter during your next long rest.
Can you rip me off a piece of paper?
Yeah.
And can I have a pencil?
And I'm gonna give you
Do you
some time
want
to
to-
think about that. You don't
Okay.
have to do it right
Okay.
now. Or rather, do it kind of in the background, and then we'll get back to it later. We don't need to resolve.
Oh,
this
it doesn't
now.
even like happen like right now?
Yeah. The point is, you're in real time. You're kind of going, okay, cut that out, based on the kind of narrative that you're painting here. And we're going to. As you step outside, I feel like you were going to say something. Okay, cool. So as all of you step outside and you're beginning to make your way on the road, remember that you've got this dark, echoing tide of souls that creates this 3-minute daylight sequence, or I should say moonlight sequence, and it is cold. Right, Lunar Conservatory Pride. And as you walk along the road, you hear growls from dogs. And immediately, almost like they stepped directly from a patch of hazy, smoky mist, you see a long, gaunt gentleman with a long, black leather coat step out of the shadows. And he has paler skin, a complexion that seems like one riddled with death or decay, and he has long, flashing white teeth. And as he stands there before you, he goes, I smell something good here. Hey, boy! And one of his 2 hounds immediately jumps forward and is now within 5 feet of you and begins sniffing at you. He doesn't seem to be making any threatening motions yet. Do you do anything?
Can I, judge, the intentions of this dog?
Give me animal handling to perceive what it's doing.
That's what I was looking for. 16.
Cool. It's looking for something. It circles around the left side of Airy, and now it's behind Cypress.
What you want, boy?
And it's beginning to
pull a banana out of my bag.
Yeah, banana, go ahead. You want a banana? Roll luck to see if it even likes bananas.
Nat 20.
That's exactly what he's looking for.
So the fact that bananas have yielded 2 nat 20s in this
I think it's
campaign
3.
is incredible.
The performance was the 3rd one.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you see this dog,
Bananas all the way down.
and go ahead, present this banana.
Oh, here you go.
Oh,
that's a good boy.
its tail is wagging behind it. It's a Great Dane. It's a large, beautiful creature with almost a perfect coat to contrast against its owner here, and its tail wags
Can I say when I
very
first saw
loudly.
the dog, how does ritual casting work?
It depends on how long it says. It might say a minute.
It might say 10.
Minutes.
Might say 10 minutes, exactly.
Should be.
What manner of
Go check that out.
this?
And he's now wagging his tail
Duration is
excitedly.
10 minutes.
And then I hand it to the dog.
You give it to him? Just
Yeah.
peel on?
Casting
No, I
time
feel
1.
it.
Okay, you peel it, you present it.
How do I
You
do
notice,
that?
That is strong.
you see as the dog just takes the whole thing in one bite and is gleefully downing it. He seems completely distracted by whatever this thing was, and you see his owner's very toothy smile fade into annoyance as he goes, Helmut! Helmut, don't eat the banana! Could you... Ugh. And he turns to... I said there were 2 hounds, so there's another hound that's there who seems jealous of the first hound, seeming to also want a banana as he comes around and eyes you, Tom, expectantly.
Do I have another? I forgot what our banana inventory... I think we sold 4, so we should have 16
You
left.
bought 8 bushels of bananas. Lord knows how many were thrown at me on stage.
So...
Wait, why didn't you trade the bananas for Obols?
So the bananas are very rotten, given that it's been multiple weeks since you purchased
No,
them.
we found them right at the end.
You got them before you met Mordecai.
Oh no! It was it's been a week.
Yeah,
I buy
it took
I
at
buy
least-
bananas on a regular basis. They
Very-
do not go
very
rotten
fresh.
on
I
day
buy
7.
green bananas. I don't know.
Yeah, they were very ripe.
Fine, whatever. You have 5 bananas left.
So
I will use one of my bananas to give to the other dog.
Okay, yeah. He very gleefully just chomps it down. The 2 of them are now sort of tussling over the banana peel with each other, trying to lick the scraps off of it.
What manner of
So
witchcraft
what-
is this?
what does ritual casting take? Is it just I start casting, or do I have to stop and sit and do something?
Generally, it's you have to get your components and you have to say some words and make some motions.
So
and
could
it
I
takes-
have started casting Speak with Animals as I heard the dogs in the distance? As we're walking down the path?
Some druids would just habitually do that. I mean, it lasts all day as a spell. I don't care if you want to pretend that you have done it.
I want to talk to the doggies.
You want to talk to some doggies. All
Part of the
right.
ritual is, do you mind if I pet your dog?
Sir.
Can I pet that dog?
So you have now cast this spell, and you hear both whispers of voices in the sky above you. And then, as soon as you tune into a different sort of frequency of listening to sounds, you hear the 2 dogs barking at each other and playfully scrapping at this. They're like, "Oh, what is this? It's too delicious. Give me some. No, give me some. Oh, I'll have some more, please. Do you think he has more? All right. Oh, give me that. Ooh." You want to tug for it? And then they immediately split the banana peel in 2 as they now have their own scrap. They're like, okay, you take yours and I'll take mine. And they're now on the ground, holding it with their paws and then scraping it with their tongue as they're trying to get the rest of the remains off of it.
They like the banana.
Of course, the leader looks at you and he says, "This is not normally how this happens."
I like your dogs.
What exactly were you expecting?
Well, I was expecting to find if you had any particularly valuable goods on you. But it's no
According to
matter.
them, the bananas are pretty valuable.
that?
They seem to enjoy them.
He's going to take a step closer and he's going to start smelling the air around you as his pointed nose is lifted. He's
Prepare to take the dodge action.
okay. You are mentally dodging. He then zeroes in on the three of you, Eri, Mordecai, and Winton, and he's like, and then he eyes dart back and forth between the three until he settles on Eri, and he says, "I think you've got something that I would like to have. Any particularly precious obols in your possession?"
No, none that I have on me. We couldn't afford any back at the inn.
Go ahead and roll deception. See how that plays out.
And what is your name, friend?
Oh!
9.
He's like, "You can call me Jacaunt. But, truly, my friends just call me leader of the pack. The one that brings in all the best goods in the area. Alright. I'll let you go. Seems that you've got some busyness to get to, and if you ever need any help securing better goods out there than the Obols that Vespera is trading, then I'm here if you ever need me. Or if you ever seek me, you'll find me, trust me. I'm around, as it were."
I take another 2 bananas and hand it to him, like, give this to them when they've, as a treat sometime.
He he eyes you and then just says, "That won't be necessary."
Oh, I think they would appreciate it.
He just sort of smirks to you when he backs off. And he calls the two dogs, "Hup!" And the two hounds alert to attention, and you hear them saying, "Oh, he's calling to us, let's go!" And they scurry back to his side, they're flanking him on the other end. And he says,
If y'all want another one of those, they're called bananas.
you hear them talking amongst themselves in bated breaths, like, should we go and get more? And he's like, "No, Master would be very disapproving if we were to."
I gave him some, he has them.
And they say, "I don't smell any on Master."
Yeah, he didn't.
"The girl has a very powerful obol." The other one says, "The armored man does too." And the first one says, "That man was just talking to us, we should keep quiet." The first one goes, "Yes, you're right." And they both ready themselves, they steady to attention, and they wait as their master commands them. He says, "All right, boys, let's go." And he creates a bit of a dimension door made out of black mist, and they three are beginning to step through it.
The bananas saved our lives.
Well, that happened.
Does he fully step
Go?
through it?
Oh yeah. I was giving you a chance to do anything, say anything, stop him, or something like that. But yeah, if you do nothing, you'll step through. Be gone.
Go.
Not doing
Okay.
anything.
Expect
The
not
door
to
closes.
have
The dogs
more as
smelled
we
your
venture
opals.
deeper into the black
I
jade
noticed.
bones.
The dogs smelled your obol. The dogs know, and they're probably going to tell him, just be aware, he might come back. With friends.
Well, that isn't good.
Well, you just said it was going to happen more.
Well, it's going to happen randomly. I wasn't expecting to be targeted the minute we take a step out of the death's draught.
Now you're aware, and now you can prepare for it.
All right. So with this, why don't we roll?
I'm going to be on, like,
Initiative.
active perception, I guess.
Yeah, just sort of actively looking out for
Yeah.
any presence of this man Jacaunt. So let's have everyone roll a d20. Oh no, sorry, a wisdom save.
Oh, wisdom.
8.
13.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember the difference between a save and a check.
Saves
Wisdom
are
is
the-
just use the number. That's my wisdom
Well,
score.
Saves are at the top of your
So,
sheet.
I have a +6 to a wisdom saving throw, but that really doesn't help when you roll a nat 1.
What?
It doesn't help
I
me roll on
can't
that
help you
too
either.
either.
Awesome. I need anyone that rolled lower than a 10 to raise their hand. Lower than a 10. Lower than a 10. So,
Really well.
something's about to happen, which
Great.
is going to be
Only two people
a
in this
recurring theme in this campaign. So all of you have Obols that are your tether to reality, and the more that you drift into the Umbral Corruption, the more that you're penetrating layers of your own psyche. And that's what these Obols are hoping to ground you in. You can even think of them as like the tokens in Inception. It's like, okay, what's real, what's not, but in this case it's what am I here for? What's life about? And as you progress forward, the three of you that failed this particular check, it'll get harder over time. Your Obols begin to speak more loudly to you. And what I'm going to ask you to do, and you'll have to tell me how this plays out, is one of the Obols that's in your possession is about to temporarily take control of your pre-cortex, your frontal thoughts, dictating your actions and what you speak. Basically putting your own personality to the backseat for a period of time. And right now, this is your tutorial. It's a safe travel between here and the city of Widowsberg, where you're headed. Go ahead and the three of you explain to me what happens. You can choose between, for the two of you, your original Obol, or one of the Obols you picked up from Vespera.
So can the other stuff I have that I didn't mention to her also still be an Obol for me?
Could be, but you'd have to argue to the DM whether it is significant enough to justify.
Could I
I'm going to plug in my computer real fast.
Just to see if I could get one more Obol, could I say my the symbol of Tempest, or because I went that?
Yeah, it also gives you ties to any of your religious practices when you study with people.
All right.
Justin's getting ready to roleplay a tree.
So wait.
Yeah, it might be helpful for us to note what we could use as an Obol from here on out.
I've got three. I'm keeping track of them in my inventory. I just wrote Obols.
There's at least one adventurer who has misheard the word Obol and thought Opal, who's come from the Opal
right.
refuge, and
I think
been like
since I picked up the journal from Vespera, the voices in my head saying that it's an unwanted visitor or an unwanted infiltrator or whatever.
Yeah.
But it has been all Ruby Empire.
Yeah.
I've just been trying to do what I have been doing in the past few weeks and shut out the other voices in my head and really so that's the one that's like it's kind of safe and sequestered and I let it overtake me on accident.
Yeah. So here's what all three of you are going to do, and kind of just think of this while everyone's just going so we can quickly get through this. Name of the person, if I haven't named them already, and then the way that they would behave in this situation, knowing your general mission and objective. You're basically role-playing as two people at once, but primarily this other person. So whoever goes first, you can just generally describe what you do in the next day's worth of travel as you're going to this place.
You never gave me a name, but...
This is the journal. Is this the journal you just bought from Vespera?
Yep.
We'll name him Caesar.
All right. Caesar.
Yep. Okay. And let me know if you have any other questions. But basically, you're just sort of narrating to me what it's like. This will matter more later. We're kind of practicing it now.
All right. So as Caesar takes control, I guess, I'm still present, but kind of in a backseat.
Yeah. You're saying, Caesar, we gotta get to this place. We gotta do this thing. He knows your mission objective.
And the only thing he's told me is that he wants me to take him home.
Yeah.
So I'm marching, I guess, much more as we walk forward. I'm marching much more like in military formation, just kind of going forward.
Yeah.
And very more militaristic than kind of the more casual. And
you can make up any details about the Obol bearers that you are possessing here.
Okay. I'm gonna say Caesar was more of a higher ranking person in the army. He knew General Cedric. He was one of the head scouts for the Ruby Empire, and he's been lost for some time now.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, you too.
So I have Meraldi's walnut salad recipe.
It was a powerful memory.
It was a
powerful memory. You know, food can do that to you.
One of my favorite things in the refuge.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I'm gonna say that just an overwhelming hunger hits me.
Okay.
I'm just really hungry.
Right.
Specifically for this walnut salad.
So who is it that is hungry for this salad?
I guess it'd be Meraldi?
You can if you wish.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to be a really fuzzy one for you. You immediately notice that your motor control begins to waver as you're detethering from Cypress and tethering closely to someone you don't remember super tightly very well. So you find yourself struggling in your steps. But what else do you do as Morality in this period of time?
I am commenting a lot on just the lack of plant life and deathness around.
Okay, yeah, that seems fair. Mordecai.
I use my Obol I take from the picture.
Yep.
And there, it was a giant group photo, so I have so many personalities.
Yeah.
One of them, if I remember, my good acquaintance, Frederick.
Good work, friend.
Yeah.
All right, Frederick.
Is this
Frederick.
What's Frederick doing right now?
Frederick was a very optimistic man back when we were all together during the cause. So he's walking around and going, he's just really bummed out. He's really bummed out that like we're not at a bar right now. He's just like, man, this place is like a giant killjoy. Like, of all places we could have started walking through, it had to be this place when we have like the entire rest of the map that we could have looked at. Now we're here.
All right. Cool. Well, so the two of you, Ari and Tom, you are now suddenly burdened with 3 extra passengers on this journey. How would you react to having these weird personality traits suddenly manifesting in your allies here? Do you try to get to know them? Do you try to push them back? Like, how does that work?
Would she know Frederick?
Are we in the picture?
Yeah, y'all are in the picture.
Yeah.
Could we possess you?
We'll see how Trey feels later on if he rolls bad. How we want to go that way.
Short answer is you are familiar with Frederick.
Yeah, so I would probably
You're the one who's weirded
make
out.
some small talk, but try to shut out anything extra than the goal right now.
Yeah, every now and then the real people will kind of take over and be like, hey, it's me, don't worry, whatever, but it's a drifting system, which unfortunately makes things a little uneasy. Tom?
Yeah, I think Tom would be a little bit disconcerted by the fact that we are one day into our journey and all of a sudden everybody's getting possessed, and would be doing his best to try to snap people out of it. Just say, hey, no, you're not Frederick, you're Mordecai. No.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah.
No, Cypress, you're not Salad.
You're not a salad. So as you continue walking forward, this is basically how your day's travel goes. I would roll for the weather, but the weather is always the same in the Blackjade Lords.
Great.
It is cold. It is not very breezy. It is dry, and there is mostly ashen wasteland around you, with every now and then a little patch of of wildlife, not necessarily in the form of green grass, but in more like mossy substances or some fungal wastes. And you eventually make it to the outside of a very decrepit, dilapidated old town called Widowsberg. And for
that's exactly what it's from.
For the audio listener, it's really what you'd expect. It's a bunch of destroyed, grayed buildings with an ashen sky, wood that has been toppled down from planks to the ground beneath. In the background, a church building tower sits high above the stable, above the buildings, but really doesn't have much to offer. There are very few lights anywhere, but if you were to look closely, you might be able to find some. And this will take you to Widowsberg. But before you even enter, I would like for 2 of you to make a perception check. And this is for hearing.
Perception. I got a +4.
I've got a 0.
I've got a 6.
Go get it.
Okay.
Ooh.
23.
Tell me, what do your L5s?
Yeah, that's a 11.
Okay. Cypress. You said that you were trying to keep actively alert for Jacaunt and his dogs in case they snuck up on you again, and you do that all day. It actually takes quite a lot of wear and tear on you, being so alert for an entire trip. But you eventually make it to this city, and right on the outskirts of this town, you hear a noise that looks a little something that sounds like this. It's far in the background. It's behind one of these buildings. It's... but much fainter and muffled by the several walls of buildings in between you and it. Whatever this thing is, it is big and it is loud.
There's something. My ear kind of like twitches. Generally, that way, a bit down that way, and it sounds big, and it doesn't sound happy.
And so the 5 of you are preparing to enter Widowsberg, and that is where we're going to take a little bit of a break. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more of the Umbral Harbingers. So after Cypress has heard this noise of this monstrous apparition just beyond the city, the 5 of you set to enter under a lowly, dusty, awning, sort of opening arch into the city proper. And if I were to briefly describe what you see around you, it's these decrepit streets where there are broken down buildings, only some of which might even have lights on in the first place. And I think, in the sake of making this more fun, getting to the fun stuff faster, I'm just going to tell you this. Instead of having you go and find someone, have them explain it to you in character and all that. The only real way to get into the center of the Umbral Corruption is to either acquire Obols of such power and be able to control them that you are able to bypass this effect of the possessive spirits in the Umbral Corruption, or to be granted safe passage, maybe an escort by the lords themselves. One reason they may be compelled to do this is if you help them to face the threats that are imminently facing their own people. But it might just be because they owe you one, or because you're forcing them to. So you think that it is in your best interest to go and figure out what this beast is actually doing. It's the first thing that people know of that came directly from the Umbral Corruption. It might give you an edge or insight into what it might actually take to breach the outer perimeter. And this beast, to your knowledge, you haven't seen it yet, is far, big, loud, hungry. So, at this point, we enter the stage of the game where you are mainly trying to gather information, research, find items or clues or anything that might be able to help you to take down this beast. King Grimthorn, who is the Black Jade Lord over this particular range, the Lord over the zombies, as it were, is nowhere to be seen right now. He might be nearby. He might be out with his horde, but that's another thing for you to discover. So, just as a recap, 5 of you, you've got these Obols at your bay. You have a few other characters you've met along the way, but ultimately you're in a new town, and it's up to you to decide what to do before you progress.
How many people are here that live in this town?
Yeah, roughly, let's say, if you were to spend the next several hours, which I will make things happen if you choose to do that, you would learn more specifically how many there are, but I'm just going to say where you're standing, super rough approximation, 40 people in this whole town. And the town could easily house 2,000.
Is there, like, somewhere we would think the critical mass of people would be, or they just all be in their homes?
I won't make you roll. You would infer that the center of town, which would be the most defensible and the least destroyed by things, would be where most people would stay. It happens to be near the church.
Would that be in the direction of the large, big, angry, and hungry? Mm-hmm. I see.
Yes. Is there any, activity going on? Is there anyone, just, feeling like they're doing a chore, cleaning up a decrepit house?
Yeah, what do you roll luck for me?
10.
Okay. You do see that there are some people that are doing day-to-day tasks, and whether or not you had asked Hellsa to give you more information about the town, you might have expected going into this that this entire region was populated entirely by zombies. So maybe it would be surprising for you to note that there are regular humanoids here that are milling about doing their day-to-day work. You see a girl, possibly human, maybe elf, off in the distance is fetching some water from one of the spigots and is taking it back to her house. And with the 10, I'll say another man is pushing a small, rough wooden wheelbarrow full of basic supplies from one street to another.
Do they appear skittish, or like they're looking over their shoulder, or just doing regular day-to-day stuff?
No insight. Yes, they are. Every time that noise from the distance appears, you notice that they're quickly darting their eyes to the sky to see if something is bearing down upon them.
Interesting.
Does the town look semi-destroyed, or at least the outskirts of it?
So the side that you entered on has the most destruction, but the walls are still intact, even if they've been patched up.
Can we go talk to one of the people that are
Can we go
milling
talk
about?
Yeah, can we go talk to the man pushing the wheelbarrow?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. If you do, you want to just like he's walking away from you. Do you like hurry to catch up with them, or are you just following?
Excuse me, sir.
He's pushing it along. You hear the creaking of an irregular wheel on the cobblestone there, and he stops. Hello.
Hi. My name is Mordecai. I'm here with my friends. We are traveling through. We're curious. What happened here?
Do you mean yesterday, or do you mean months ago? Or do you mean when this all started?
I think you just answered my question.
Let's stick with what's important. This huge beast from the Umbral Corruption is coming towards us. At any moment, it could puncture these walls, and I don't know if any of us will even be able to survive. I hear that it eats flesh, but not inside. It rips it apart and then sticks it together onto its body. That's what I heard, at least from the troops.
So you haven't seen this happen?
Oh, and I don't want to. The moment I see that, he looks at a dagger that's on his side. He says, if I catch sight of that, it may not be the creature itself that ends my life.
How would you know that the creature doesn't just necrotically raise your dead body after you kill yourself and add it to its mass?
I don't care what it does with my body when I'm done. I just don't want to be part of...
Okay, maybe we don't talk about death in front of the death-ridden people.
He starts clutching the sides of his head, and he starts breathing a little bit more heavily. And I'm gonna roll, commoner wisdom save here. He goes...
Let me fix your wheelbarrow. I want to cast Mending on the wheelbarrow for just anything.
You do it effortlessly. You're able to restore the wheel to a much more, rounded, thick, useful shape. He's reacting to doing this, and his words, the first words out of his mouth are, "What? Who are you people? What are you doing here?" He seems very agitated. He's on edge.
We are just passing through, but we have come upon your stead.
We'd like to help.
He starts like pulling around his body. He looks at the left side of his hip, and then when he realizes there's nothing there, he discovers that the dagger is actually on the other side of his body, and he starts to put his hand on it, and he backs away from you slowly.
Hey. Everything's fine. We are not here to hurt you.
Can I roll an insight about what?
Yeah, you can try. Roll inside. Tell me specifically what you're looking for.
I want to see, essentially, is the after what I have experienced, this whole him not recognizing, us, was he possessed by an Obol, or is he now possessed by an Obol?
Okay, roll a difficult insight check.
Okay, not that one then. 12.
Okay. You get the sense that he's not the same person you were talking to a minute ago.
Take it. Let's calm down. Let's come back. Do you have a name? What is your name?
His eyes dart back and forth, and his breathing starts to speed up a little bit. No. Yes. It's Sendar.
Sendar. Okay, Sendar. Again, my name is Mordecai. And the only thing you can call me right now is friend.
Why don't you roll persuasion for me?
16.
Okay. His breathing slows a little bit, and you notice that his hand comes off of his dagger. And he starts to take a step backwards from you, like this, with his hands up. Look, I don't want any trouble.
Neither do we.
I'm just trying to get enough food to hold up for the next 2 days. The king said that we were allowed to lay low for a little bit until this passes. He takes another step back.
It will pass.
He takes another step back. Do you do anything?
No.
Let's just move on to the next person.
Can you point us towards the leader of this town?
I don't know where he is. He's probably outside, patrolling the walls or training his troops.
Alright.
I need to go.
Alright.
And he grabs his wheelbarrow, newly mended, doesn't notice, and starts wheeling it back down into the center of town.
These people are really shaky.
Obviously. Maybe let's not bring up necromancy next time.
This is the Black Jade Lord's necromancy is literally
Winton.
above us.
Winton. Just because it's there doesn't need it to be talked about all the time.
Is that girl still getting water from the well? Or spigot?
Looks like she's gone.
Is there anyone else we can see?
Okay. Well, we have outside of the wall. We can go find their supposed leader.
Yep. Tell me where you want to go. If it helps have very soft ideas, you can go directly to the church, which is in the center of town, where some of the more upkeep buildings are. You can kite around either the left or right side of the city to kind of get a layout of really where the texture of the city breaks. You can go there are walls. If you were to find a way up onto the walls, you could actually see out into the battlefields that immediately surround the city of Widowsberg, possibly in the direction of where the sound is coming from, and that's it. Right now, you're in like the broken down sort of suburban.
Do we
district.
see anyone else milling about?
No.
I think we should go to the center of town.
I'm getting a weird feeling about the upkept church. Everything else around here is desolated except the church. Or
There's some buildings
Okay.
in the center of town, but it like that the locus of buildings really around the church. It seems
Okay.
like.
I think it may make sense to take an arcing path that way, though. One, because if we follow this guy, he may pull a knife on us, but the other...
Or himself.
Or himself. But the other piece is that we still don't know quite where this monster is, and taking an angle at it may help us kind of triangulate to make sure it's not just sitting in the middle of town
It's
waiting to get us.
that way.
At some point, I would like to get eyes on it if we can, from a distance at least.
I think we should find out more about it from anyone who's willing to tell us something.
That's fine. We can do that first.
Okay.
The church, is that...
I think
A roundabout way?
I think maybe that the church might be a way to figure out some more.
We should move about this quietly.
So to the center of town, but kiting. I heard right.
And quietly.
Probably quietly.
So you have no reason to choose left or right, but choose left or right.
Right.
Cool.
Right.
Roll a d2.
So
Wait,
in my perspective, you entered from the southern part of it. We can just say that the path wound in such a way as to give you there.
We're gonna go moon. You rolled a d2.
Good. Moon.
Southern moon.
The sun or the moon.
Good.
We didn't clarify which was which before you rolled it.
Good. Okay, so it just means nothing.
You've finally forsaken the insurgency.
So all of you are going to go now. Question is stealth or not, and all together or
Yes.
separate.
I'm stealthing. I don't care what you guys do. I would recommend that we move quietly.
I'll try to move quietly, I guess.
Move quietly.
Clank, 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 clank.
Yep. I mean, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna have Winton and anybody else roll stealth.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm definitely
Ah,
sneaking.
stealth.
Do we want to sneak up on these people?
How about
That might
how
terrify
about
them.
y'all sneak? I will
Well,
just.
only if they-
I will walk in the middle.
I
of the
can hear
road.
the monster is still a ways that way.
I will
But
walk.
what is that?
I will not try to hide.
And
I'll
Why
just
are we
walk.
sneaking again?
Yeah.
Like, we're not here to fight. As long as we don't walk out with swords drawn, we just casually walk down.
I don't want
I don't know
to
that.
sneak up on these people.
I don't know that an adventuring party that clearly stands out in this town won't draw unnecessary trouble towards us.
If we're caught.
Notably, our friend, who we recently met with the dogs.
Huh.
I think this town has bigger...
You
Problems.
can go separately. I mean, ultimately the way I roll stealth as a party is you're only as stealthy as your least stealthy member. That's just how it goes. So
I do not wish to sneak up on these people. I am approaching a holy
You've
site.
seen his face. Look at him. He pops around a corner and runs into someone. They're going to scream. We're going to have a fight on our hands.
Would it be better for a small group of us to maybe go up to the wall, see what we can see on the perimeter, maybe look down on the city?
With that big thing lurking around, we probably shouldn't split up. If it comes to it, it'd be better to have all of us to fight it than just...
What? We're
One
going
or
to
two
fight
of
in the
us.
middle of the town?
That might
That's
just happen.
probably the
Barry.
best place to fight it. If it comes
With
to
all
it.
of these lives?
I'm saying if it comes to us.
That's not stopping it. We need to get as much information. We just can't go
Okay.
blindly out through the field and fight this thing, Ari.
It's fine.
All right.
I'm not... Anyway,
Church first, wall second.
it's fine.
Church first, wall second. I
Church
think we
first,
could
wall
just
second.
Walk there.
All right.
No,
Everyone
hide.
together. No stealth. Kiting to the right. Straight to the church. Well, not straight. Kiting to the right towards the church. Cool. Okay. Well, since you chose right, as you were kiting right, you do see something on your way there. You're walking in the middle of the road, so this is not something that you get like some specific advantage or edge on. But as you start walking forward, you see that there is a man in what looks like some very muted gray robes. You can't be sure if it was actually gray or if the haze of this entire ambiance actually causes things to have less color than they really would be anywhere else. But he's got these long cloth robes, and he actually has a long cap made of the same material. And he seems to be carrying a satchel of various instruments, whether they're glass vials or maybe some other components. And he is trying to hurry to get from one building to another building closer to the center of town, but his back seems to be up against one of the wooden walls there. He's stuck in an alley, and there are two, you do have to roll for this. They're very obviously these like vagrant robbers who have daggers pointed directly at him. And from now, I'll say you're about 120 feet away, but if you were to try to listen, and I will let you do that to hear more of what's happening, or since things might happen while you wait, you could just immediately approach. That much you can immediately tell. If you choose to stand and listen, then I will give you the chance to do that.
So we can tell he's being robbed.
Yeah, from a distance of about 120 feet, you do see he's there. Daggers pointed at him. He's backed up against the wall. He's not like tucked deep into an alley. He's like against one of the side walls. But he is, he's not looking. He looks like they're gotta take his stuff.
Would there be a way for me to reach the roof of one of the buildings that overlooks the alley?
Yeah, roll me luck just to see if there's some sort of like acrobatic like arrangement of things to get you up there.
7.
So it would be difficult. I'll say you'd have to go around one of the buildings and then climb just a normal staircase and then vault to the ceiling from there. It would take you roughly 40 seconds. What's everyone else doing while she's figuring this out?
Ari, do you want to do it?
I say we
I'll
go
defer.
talk to him. It's 5,
Yeah,
like 3 of
sure.
them. You said 3 robbers.
No, just two robbers.
While you're
Us.
talking, I'm going to try to get
Two of
myself
them.
into a better position if this goes
As-
south.
as
I'll say you're spending 40 seconds doing that. You're
That-
now going to be on a roof.
That sounds good. I'm going to kind of duck out of sight. Where if y'all are going to go talk to him, I'm in firebolt range already. So I'm in effective range, and I don't
Okay,
really want to
fine.
get closer to the guys with the knives.
Let's go talk to
Let's
them.
go
So,
talk to
I'm
him.
gonna-
Winton, what are you
I'm
going
going
to
to
do?
hang out and see if things go south.
As you go that way, and you ask me, I'm just going to pull up my mace and clang it against my shield.
Hey, Tom, why don't you roll luck for me? Relatively easy luck.
Sure. Is 3 going to cut
So I was imagining you might want to have some partial cover, and whether you can duck into like one of the broken down buildings and use like the window there. And unfortunately, there's nothing out of the sort where you currently are standing.
Yeah, so
Everything's
my
either broken
goal
down
was
or
just
wall
to
off.
block eyesight, so that it doesn't look like we're 5 people walking up on them. It makes
Okay.
it look like we are 3 people. Is there an alley at all, or is it just with the 3? It is.
With that 3, I'm going to say you're
Okay.
you're either in the street or you are going to where Ari was behind the other building there,
Okay.
which would put you on a line of sight.
All right.
Yeah, then I'll
You get in a position. We'll go.
stay where I am.
I clang my
We'll go-
weapon against
we'll
my shield
pull
to
a good old
loudly
insurgent.
Oh shoot! Okay, yeah.
They,
I'm going to
they
try
know
to
we're
hide
here.
where I am.
Yeah,
just
obviously,
out.
yeah.
I
makes
am
sense.
announcing her presence.
So,
Hello there.
27?
Jeez Louise.
26.
26. Only 26. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Yeah. So you speak up and you clang your armor, huh?
Hello there.
The two daggers. It's 2 daggers. The 2 bandits they jolt in place and they turn around. They say, I don't know who the. What in Cannonball are you doing here?
What am I doing here? Well, what are you doing?
What taking this guy's stuff? Now would you
What?
beat it? Let us be.
Why?
Why?
He's got the best stuff!
The best stuff.
What
Really?
exactly is the best stuff?
I don't have to share anything with you.
What if we want the best stuff?
You know, stab you and take your stuff too. The other
I
one
don't have any.
lifts his
Negotiations are breaking down.
lifts his dagger towards you. In addition,
I'm gonna train an
That's
arrow
a really
on
small
him.
sword.
Gentlemen!
Are there
Gentlemen!
Are there any like rats or cockroaches that are like on the ground?
Oh yeah, I can speak to animals.
yeah, there's some.
I want, as they're like begin threatening us, I want to point at one of the cockroaches and cast Toll the Dead, specifically for the very, very, very loud bell sound that's going to ring out.
What? Okay.
I want you to know
Draw
I'm a
as much
druid.
attention to us as possible.
A dolorous bell fills the air around it for a moment.
Okay, so you just kind of throw this right into the alley where they are. I imagine you've walked up, so you're close enough to have range, and you hear just and Toll the Dead is damage, right? It's a ranged spell attack on a creature.
Kill it.
You're gonna break the stuff.
He's killing a cockroach.
At full health, 1d8.
You attack a cockroach. Roll an attack on the cockroach.
No, it has to make a wisdom save.
Oh, that's right. That's
While
right,
Nathan pulls up his cockroach stats.
that is a natural 20.
It's a cockroach. They can't die.
It still makes the noise.
So even though it's gonna take, this is one of those saves where it still takes damage, right?
No, it just because it's a cantrip.
Oh, it saves. It takes no damage.
It makes the noise, but it takes no
It
damage.
literally, so you see, just off in the distance, you from the roof and you from kind of your line of sight, you see as this cockroach that was kind of like crawling on a wall next to them, it vibrates violently as it creates this echoing sound that shoots through the town, and it just sort of continues to scurry. It feels like you almost emboldened it. You gave it like a vibrance, and the two of them are.
You see something new every day.
So what do you say after all this happens? The two bandits are aghast, staring at this cockroach that has been vibrating.
What was the point of that?
The bell tolls for the dead.
What?
Although insects do not care for it. Let me just say this. If you threaten the man with the best stuff in a town that's already dying, the bell may toll 2 more times. For some certain
I'll just let that sit for a bit. First bandit looks at the second bandit. He goes, "Carter, this guy's really weird. Let's get out of here!" And immediately, I'm gonna roll 2d20s at once. All right, that's awesome. You see, as one of the bandits immediately reaches to swipe, grab this bag, and yank it out of the person that this man who's here, like with his components. And the satchel had a leather strap that was going around his neck, so he tries to grab it and pull it off his head, but this man resists. He grabs it in place and holds it down, and the two of them are now playing tug-of-war with it. And the first guy goes, "Oh, grab. He turns with his dagger, and he like turns his back to his ally and is facing the rest of you. And he's like, "Don't come any closer! I'm warning you!" And with that,
I approach.
I'm gonna say, let's roll initiative.
A nat 20.
You were ready.
The bell has tolled.
Wow,
9.
interesting.
30, 20. You have,
Okay.
you have an initiative bonus.
Okay.
I rolled a 9.
Oh,
If your initiative
22.
is 20 or higher, raise your hand. Say yours.
Nat 20.
Nat 20.
22.
22, but not nat.
Unnatural 20.
Dirty 22.
Okay, Cypress.
I have been
How do I
waiting
do
for
this?
this moment.
Can I roll
This
with
is-
advantage
this-
because I was ready for this?
That's not really how initiative works. So, Ari. Sorry, who
No.
had between 10 and
got
15? Or 15
10
and 20.
exactly. Oh, sorry.
Okay, 10 and 15.
Yes.
10.
Yeah.
Anyone between 5 and 10?
9.
Okay, cool. Y'all have joint initiative. I'll just put you here.
Can
Oh,
you
I
make-
can do it by 5 segments like that. That'd be interesting.
We need to make new cards.
Help
Like
me remember.
smaller that fit in that
Yeah,
one.
so they can actually go there. Okay, cool. Winton, immediately you see these two tussling bags back and forth, and one guy prepares his foot, like he's standing there in front of you, preparing to fight you. What do you do?
I immediately just charge forward.
Yeah.
How close are like the?
I'm gonna say you closed the gap. You walked up.
Yeah.
You weren't hiding. You were trying to keep a distance. You got an ally that's 120 feet away. I'm gonna say you're within 30, so you have enough speed to get there this round.
Is the guy? Am I close to the guy who's threatening us, or am I close to the guy?
He's
pulling?
put his back to the two guys that are pulling, so you'd have to get through him in order to get to his ally.
Okay. Could I?
We'll name them. Let's say Carter's grabbing the bag, and freaking Sam is guarding him. So Sam is now in front of you. I'll write this down. All right, cool. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, can I just go past Sam and get straight to Carter?
Yeah, he'll try to stab you.
All right, just.
Okay, cool. So you, I'll say you have enough speed to get there. You have 30 feet of movement, right?
Yeah.
So you see as Winton just casually like sprints directly past Sam to get to Carter here, and Sam's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And he turns and he thrusts his dagger into your back, but what you notice is it clanks off of your heavy armor as you continue running by. And he's like, "Hey, get your hands off of him!" And you're there. You're there now.
I immediately want to roll to attack with my mace to get at his legs.
Yeah,
just
a little sweeping blow.
break a kneecap or something.
Yeah. If you hit well enough, I might do a dex save.
Okay, just nothing. Just yeah, that's not gonna do it. That's gonna be a 9 to hit.
Yeah, 9 will not hit. So as you run past him and he swipes at you and it clangs off your armor, you take your mace, you swing for his feet, and he sees you coming at the last second and steps to the side, pulling the bag in such a way as to try to hold firm, while now he's rotated the two of them 90 degrees relative to you. So you are now there in position. Anything else you do? And on deck will be Cypress.
How far am I from them?
You were walking up as well, right? Yeah, same distance.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter. I'm good.
Okay. I actually want to do this.
Yep, while you do that, Cypress, you can let me know what you're starting with.
Make a bell sound.
Liturgy of bells. I think I'm gonna start with frostbite.
Okay.
On
I have
I can
battle music for this, since apparently we're in a fight.
apparently we're gonna fight.
Apparently.
It'd be that way sometimes.
Do me like that.
What the heck is this?
Why didn't they
Battle music.
Not my battle music.
The bell tolled.
Did it?
Yeah. Not for the cockroach.
I didn't want to attack them.
Don't attack the animals, man. They didn't do anything to you.
Well, I didn't do anything to the animals.
All right, that's fine. We'll go with that. So, anything else from from Winton or Cypress?
I'm doing my frostbite, so they have to do a 14 con save.
Which one? Sam or Carter? Sam's in front.
Carter's the one still in the
I'm gonna
bag.
say you don't have direct. It's a line attack, right?
It's just I target one creature.
Yeah. I'm gonna say
So
just.
I could step over to.
Yeah, I'm just gonna arbitrarily say there's too much in the way now. They were up
Okay.
against the wall anyway, so you can hit Sam. You'd have to push past him to get to Carter.
No, I was aim for Sam.
Go. Dex save.
Con.
Con save fails.
All right, it's 1d6.
Sweet. Deal that cold damage.
4.
Cool. Yep. You see as this cold frost ray shoots
And
from
it has
Cypress's finger.
disadvantage on its next weapon attack roll.
Nice. And it not only strikes him in the back as you hear him go, "Ah!" But now you see that his arm begins to tremble in place. It's hard for him to hold on to his dagger. And that takes us to, if you move, let me know. Otherwise...
I'll get within 10 feet, but not 5.
Gotcha. That moves. That actually moves us to all 3 of the NPCs who rolled a 21. So I'm just going to put that thing to sort of mark this. And actually, I didn't break the tie. Okay, cool. So first, we've called him Carter. Carter, who's got the bag right now. He's like, "Get off me, old man!" And he takes his dagger and he's going to. He attempts to, while holding the bag with one hand, thrust it into the ribcage of this wizard, and you notice that the man who's there suddenly ducks out of the way, his unarmored body unpenetrated by this dagger. And so he keeps pulling, and then he's going to make a contested strength check, and... And
Yeah.
so the two of them are pulling back and forth, and then out of freaking nowhere, you see as they both slip, and the bag flies from their hands, and all of these components are going to fall. So in the bag, they are flying upwards. They're going to topple. I literally. So first of all, double natural one. Double natural one. Second of all, which direction is it going? I'm gonna say one is deeper into the alley, and then everything else outward. Yeah. So it starts flying in the direction into the alley of the man in the cloth robes. We'll just call him a wizard, since spoiler, that's what he is. And as it flies towards this wizard, unnamed wizard, it's going to make contact with the wall. It's in the air. I need someone to roll luck to see if the satchel stays closed. If you're really unlucky, it might just spill open.
Who has better luck?
Luck is not a modifier.
It's just a
It's
natural.
nothing.
I'm just gonna do this.
Who's feeling lucky?
2.
You see as
Time.
vials, herbs, supplements, pieces of animal parts start falling out of this bag in this display like a rainbow of special effects, and you see the wizard's eyes open wide in slow motion as it starts falling beside him. It is now at the end of the round, those things are going to hit the ground, right? 6 seconds is what we call a round, and it's all happening simultaneously.
If I got mage,
Meanwhile,
Yes, but
Sam has not gone yet. It is now his turn. Sam turns to you, and he's like, "How dare you! Oh no!" And he's going to sprint past you. Make an opportunity attack on him.
Okay. Does a 12 hit?
It does not hit. As he dodges you, and he goes, and he's going to jump up and make a grabbing motion with a 7 roll. With a rolled 7, I'm not going to tell you his modifiers. He reaches up to grab anything, and the best he can do is grab like a couple of the lighter weight, like feathers and leaves that start to like tumble down. But other things are beginning to fall, and they might just shatter on the cobblestone ground around you. That takes us to Tom. You're next.
Yes, what would I know about taking a whole bag full of spell components and throwing them at a wall?
Roll me a history check with a disadvantage because you're doing this in like 3 seconds.
Sure. While he's doing this. Oh no, you roll. Sorry. It says mage hands at will. Can I do that right now?
At will? It should still tell you with the casting time.
At will.
And this is history?
Probably mean.
Let me read more about that.
It's an action. Cast Mage Hand is an action.
It's not history. We'll make it Arcana.
Arcana? Either way, it's 10.
Yeah, so it's an action. So that it's like an attack.
Okay, I just didn't know like.
So, say again.
10?
10. All you know is it probably won't do anything, but it's probably expensive stuff that wizards would need.
Okay. But I've seen the... Okay,
You are 120 feet away.
Well, I know I'm fine. I'm trying to figure out whether to blow up the alley, shoot a firebolt in there and see what happens, or...
So, look, dude,
Probably
this is
not
why I
that.
love D&D. I don't know what's in that bag, man. If you shoot that, I'm going to roll and see what's in that bag.
Yeah, I know. I think I have... I don't want to kill our cleric. Yeah. I will...
Instantly dead.
You have other things than a fireball.
Yeah, but why would I use any of it? I think I'm going to shoot a firebolt, but at the... did you say Carter was the one hanging from... or pulling things down? Yeah, I'm going to shoot a firebolt at Carter.
Oh, no, Sam is the one who turned around and
sorry.
was trying to catch it. But yes,
Yeah.
the guy who's trying to like catch feathers and stuff.
Shoot at Sam.
Yeah.
So this is 11
Plus.
plus 6 is 17 to hit.
That hits. You see as right after a frostbolt comes out and shot Sam, immediately a firebolt comes from the other lane and just strikes him in the back as he's trying to catch some of these. And he's like, ah! And he takes how much damage? You probably have to roll for damage.
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to... So I have something that looks like a D10 physically. Okay, yeah, 4.
Okay, cool.
Plus anything?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so this has all just happened. Tom, you fire this firebolt. If you want to move or use a bonus action, let me know. Next is Aerie.
Yeah, I think I'm going to move just to be closer in range, so I'll be,
Yep.
I think, 90 feet away from them now.
I want to point out 2 things that have happened now that might make this feel a little different. The first is that the sounds of this fight are reverberating through the streets. You hear a frostbolt and a firebolt, and you hear stabbing and this shouting as this bag has been torn open, and suddenly, or not suddenly, so that's the first thing you notice. The second is that the firebolt is like a rare spot of warmth in this otherwise cold city. And so it's just something that you notice, especially you, Winton, since you're in the vicinity of it. Ari, you're up.
Is the bag still falling, or is it already falling?
I'm going to say it will be done falling at the end of the round, so you have a
Bag
chance.
is done for.
The stuff is not in the bag anymore?
No, he rolled a 2 for that.
The cat and the feathers and the other spell.
Yeah,
Y'all
I
can
can't
choose.
do anything about
Okay.
that. So I guess I'm just going to take a shot at whoever you just shot at,
Yes.
Sam?
Sam.
Yeah, both of Sam's been shot twice.
It's just a short bow attack.
Shoot the bag
How
to
far
get
am
to...
That
So you are
15?
you are
I walked
fully
up with
stealthy.
him.
Oh, yeah, you're
he has no
like-
idea where you are.
Okay.
yes.
So did you do that with
Oh yes, it
advantage?
probably is good that I didn't blow up the alley.
Okay, so that definitely hits. That's a 20.
Okay, yeah,
30.
20 will hit. Go ahead and roll your damage.
With a sneak attack?
With sneak attack!
Great. 6 plus 5. 10 plus
D6 is
14.
You don't
14 damage?
Uh-huh.
Holy crap.
Ari, describe to me how you finish Sam here. How you end his life.
Yeah, so he's
What about all the people, said Ari?
as he's like jumping up, reaching for all this stuff, I guess, and he kind of doubles over from this fireball attack. I'm just gonna trade an arrow straight into the center of his forehead, I guess, and fire and kill him.
Yeah, your aim strikes true. You were very used to firing from rooftops and finding advantages in your environment, and it strikes its target.
I'd like to re-hide as a bonus action.
Yeah, go and do it.
Quick question.
Winton, you notice that Sam to your right has started grabbing some of these things and then just crumples to the ground beside you.
Did he jump into the air to try to catch this stuff?
No.
Okay.
17.
That would have been funny.
Okay.
He just goes in there,
Got it.
fireball, arrows, flop.
Cool. I will give Carter a chance to find you. Okay, cool. So that is Ari's turn. That takes us to Mordecai.
I'm gonna cast Mage Hand.
Tell me what you're doing.
I'm gonna cast it, and I'm gonna control it so it as swiftly catches all items as I possibly can.
Fascinating.
before they hit the ground.
Mage Hand can hold like 5 pounds, I think is how it's
Up to
described.
10 pounds.
Oh, okay, cool. That's definitely enough to catch the components in this pouch. So this is weird because it's like this is effectively a dexterity challenge, but you're using a magical component for it. I'm gonna just double see. You can use the hand to manipulate the object, open up, blah 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 blah. Still retrieve an item, blah blah blah. 30 feet, that's enough. You can get there. 10 pounds, totally cool. As for the duration until you dismiss it again. Okay, cool. So a floating hand appears. You point. You cast the spell, and this hand appears right underneath this bag that's now toppling with all these ingredients. And frankly, I am going to have. I think it's still dexterity.
Okay.
So I want you to roll a sleight of hand check for your mage hand as you're manipulating its position to try to catch as much as
Sleight
possible.
of hand.
Yes.
Okay. 17 plus 5, 22.
You have plus 5 to sleight of hand.
Yeah,
Sweet. I mean, this worked out. Great.
I'm a dexterous little boy.
So yeah, Winton, you see as Sam hits the deck and some of the feathers are like toppling from his hands as he's been like killed, and then immediately you see the spectral hand, boom, pop into existence next to you, grab the bag, and then do the classic, the Spider-Man like Tobey Maguire,
Yes!
catching all those stuff in the bag
Yes!
with a 22. With a 22, did you catch literally everything? I think you did.
Yes!
So everything's back in this leather bag, and it is now kind of like hovering down to the level where I don't know if you're trying to get it out or move it in. You can move it up to say 30 more feet.
I'm doing exactly what you did. I'm
Okay, cool.
Tobey Maguire, and then I'm keeping it away. Don't let Carter.
You're just playing a little bit of a keep away.
Yeah.
So maximum
How high
distance
can
from
you
you is
jump,
30
Carter?
feet, so you can't send it up too high
Oh no,
right
no,
now.
no, not too high. Just
Yeah.
like right behind me, floating in the
Yeah,
air.
we'll say you can kind of move it. It's sort of in your direction. I'm just gonna roughly say 15 feet towards you, plus the movement of actually whatever. This is all made up. So,
Yeah.
and then Carter, it's like eyeing the bag, and then eyeing you, and then he realizes that he's tugging over basically nothing. He's going to drop that, and he sees what's happened to Sam, and you can tell that he is terrified. He's out. Mordecai, that's the end of the round. At the top is Winton. You see that Carter is here, and he's just seen everything that's happened.
Is Sam fully dead?
Do you want to go and check on it?
Yes.
Give me an easy perception check.
A nat 20.
So in the midst of your fight, you saw an arrow fly from a rooftop, strike him in the center of the forehead, and then he fell to the ground. Dude's dead.
Okay.
Dude's pushing up daisies.
Okay.
Does he get death saves?
Yeah, doesn't get death saves.
With a nat 20, you get to learn something about the nature of death.
Yeah, sure. His first roll was a 1.
Makes sense. He had an arrow through the forehead.
So rules written, he hasn't rolled that yet. That happens here, but like now you know. With a nat 20, I'll say you are certain that he just rolled a 1. He's like very close to death.
So he's not dead yet.
Yeah, he's technically down.
I want to glare at Carter, and
Interesting. Yeah.
I essentially want to say, "Weapons down, and your friend lives."
Okay.
I'm going to cast Spare the Dying.
Okay,
As I turn to him, as I look at Sam, just Spare the Dying at a distance. Turn to Sam.
Okay, cool.
Or Carter.
Because you've already shown good grace by casting the spell, go ahead and roll Persuasion with advantage. This should be pretty easy, but it's not guaranteed.
I have a -1 to Persuasion. With advantage, that's a 10.
Okay. He looks at you. He looks at the bag. He looks at the direction of the arrow bolt, struggling to find where that came from. He was unable to find you. He sees you having just thrown a firebolt and you having just thrown like this frost ray, and he goes, and he drops his dagger and holds his hands in the air like this.
Yeah.
Does the arrow like pop out of Sam's head?
That is not how Spare the Dying works.
Okay.
He will no longer have to make death saving throws, but he needs immediate medical attention.
Yeah, I'll walk over and just heal him real quick.
As one does.
With I'll just heal him with a first level cure wounds for 12.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, because he's dead, so you can.
You pop him back up with your domain, Great Domain cleric ability, and you see him go.
You're welcome.
He's brushing ash off of his shoulder. He's trying to move his hands, but they're too cold. And he looks up at you, and he's like, "Help me!"
He just did.
With what?
Get this thing out of my head!
You and me, bro.
Oh!
God.
Oh! God! You see I won't be too graphic. Blood is coming from his head.
Are you feeling better?
Let me roll something for poor old Sam here.
What have I done?
Bro.
He goes. You see as he crumples to the ground and just starts clutching his side, trembling in place. It seems that he might go into shock soon.
I think unconscious was better for him. 12 points of damage real quick.
Well, can I just do a medicine check to, like, with whatever tools I have in my pack from being a cleric?
You're a field doctor. You might have a chance to fix this problem.
Fix this problem, great. Does a 24 work?
Yeah, that's really good. You have supplies in your bag that you're able to use to patch up his wounds as well as reasonable. I would even say that he doesn't necessarily, 100% need to go to an infirmary in order to walk around. You're that good. Plus, we'll just say, because D&D's funky and you can die and come back and all this stuff, that like he was shot, wasn't, straight through the brain, might be like a really, really nasty side of the temple kind of thing, so that he is reasonably alive. You're able to patch him up.
Magic save.
He is still wailing in pain.
I literally just am going to pick him up and like carry him on my shoulder.
Okay.
Where?
You see Carter just sort of acquiesce. He is sort of waiting to see what the rest of you will do with him.
All right. So
His dagger
we have the good stuff,
I take his dagger.
but
So he doesn't have
what is the good stuff?
I say we give the good stuff back to the guy.
Yeah, Mordecai has good stuff.
I'm sorry, I'm still in shock from what just happened in the last 6 seconds.
I'm sorry, this is proper Ruby Empire just commandments. If you see people coming out and
Are
trying
we-
to steal,
Are
you
we out of combat?
Do we know that they weren't the good guys and this guy wasn't a thief?
You, Carter. Were you trying to steal from this man, or were you trying to steal back from this man? And let me tell you, if you lie, I'll know, and I'll drop your friend.
Well,
They just said that they were trying to steal from the guy.
Yeah, of course we were trying to steal from that guy.
They're the bad guys.
Okay, hold on. I bring the mage hand down. I look inside the bag.
What are you looking for?
I am looking just for a general sense of like what is in here.
Yeah, roll investigate for me. Trying to make sense of what's in the bag.
Hi, what's your name, Mr. Wizard Guy?
15.
He brushes off his cloak in front of you. I'll tell you, what you see in the bag is a mixture of 7 glass vials that have different solutions in them, liquids, and then just a smaller pouch, a leather pouch nested inside that has a lot of much smaller and more intricate things, like the feather of a particular creature, like the tail of a newt or whatever, like things you would expect a wizard to have as spell components.
Magic Man, does anything look out of the usual in this bag?
So this man looks at you, Cypress, and he says, I think I'm in one piece. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yorwin is my name. He just reaches out a hand to shake yours.
What was his
So
name?
that's Yurwin.
wizard.
He starts walking in the direction of. Well, you just gave it to Tom, right?
I was showing the bag to Tom.
Yeah.
Like, does everything here look on the up and up?
You're gonna take another look, see if you can figure things out.
Yeah, can I roll for Arcana?
Sure.
8.
Okay, since you were looking for Arcana, what I will tell you is these are used almost exclusively for spells. So,
Okay.
cast from this pouch.
Okay.
Spell stuff.
I take the mage hand. I just call the mage hand. I get the bag in my own hand and I hand it to Yerwin.
Okay. So he grabs it back from you and he starts looking through all of it and he starts counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll describe what he looks like. I don't have an image for him. This is one of my many alternative NPCs you could have come across. But he will say that these robes are. I said it was like a muted gray made out of cloth. He's got a long cap as well. He is human. He is of. Let's say he's about 40 years old and of average height. He has slightly broader shoulders, and you'll notice that if you were to like take a closer look at his hands and his feet, they are really decayed. Like someone who used to work with his hands quite a lot, like a farmer or someone like that. Or I should say like calloused. Decayed. And he...
It's canon in the Risen Lands.
Yes. Yes.
Regenerate like...
So he looks at the rest of you and he says, Thank you. I knew that they were tailing me for the last week or so. I didn't think that they actually had the guts to go through with it. What with the King's Watch, threatening threatening the death of anyone who goes against his orders. But